consideration you deserve. And when we also say there are never, ever any upfront fees, we mean it. Remember our name, Lundy Law. You're
97.5, The Fanatic. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas. This is Kincade and Salciunas. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Yeah, at this point, we should just be happy that the Phillies are winning games here and there.
Really?
But sometimes you don't have to be happy with how it ended up being a victory. And that's why we're going to talk about it today. And hopefully we can be adults about this conversation. It is Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
On April the 28th, I can't evaluate who these draft picks are. There's a reason why guys get drafted in the third round versus the first or second.
The first two picks they got, I love it. But when I'm hearing about adding depth players and you keep trading back, so what you're adding is less talented depth players. By your own evaluation, that doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Wednesday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. Johnny, good morning.
And a good morning to you.
Phillies won.
Yay.
Phillies won. 7-6.
Yay.
Very exciting bottom of the ninth inning.
The whole ninth inning was sort of exciting. In a bad way and a good way.
Exactly. Phillies come from behind to beat the Nationals last night. 7-6 thanks to 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth inning. Alec Boehm scores on a sacrifice fly that most Major League Baseball players get him out at the plate.
And they don't even attempt to score that.
But the Nationals are the Nationals.
Oh, my gosh.
And then a pass ball allows Bryson Stott to score from third base.
Would you have made a better throw from right field?
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, closer, you think?
Look at me.
Closer,
I'm
you
an
think?
athlete.
Yeah, yeah.
So the Phillies get the win.
Right.
Now,
You're telling me to be happy.
the part I'm skipping is the fact that the Phillies were up 5-1 going into the ninth inning.
5-3.
Sorry, 5-3 going into the ninth inning. And then the Washington Nationals put up 4 runs in the top of the ninth.
Well, the human gas can went out.
Well,
Orion Kerkering went out.
Johan Rojas not judging a fly ball at all yesterday doesn't help.
He had 2 terrible plays.
Yeah, and Trey Turner,
oh, come on.
whatever the hell he
Who
was
put
doing.
the meatball in the outfield stands, and who's been doing terribly all year long?
Correct. No,
come on now.
I'm just saying there were multiple factors in the ninth inning.
No. You have to keep the ball in the damn yard. You have to face it. A pitcher's going to face adversity. There are many times where a pitcher has to get 4 outs. There's many times.
Maybe 5 in this case.
Because of a booted ball. God, the shortstop, for God's sakes.
And then
give him a lacrosse
your
stick.
boy Rojas with the let me come charging in on a line drive that goes over my head.
It was absolutely two. The first ball I don't think is as bad as the second one. Second one's terrible.
The second one was
atrocious.
inexcusable.
To me, inexcusable.
And that would have been 2 outs, runner on first.
But again,
instead it's extra bases.
Johan Rojas is a freaking distraction. He's 5th in the team in RBI. I mean, this is a distraction from the stars not doing their jobs.
Correct.
And the bullpen with one of the highest payrolls in baseball, an atrocious bottom of the league bullpen with the Nationals.
Yep.
It's embarrassing.
You got the job done from Strahm coming in to get out of the jam with Wheeler. Alvarado, it got dicey, but
Boy,
he gets out of it.
Now Alvarado is the inning where we need to talk. The fact that we talk about the defense of anybody without talking about the Little League defense of Trey Turner.
I did talk about Trey Turner.
No, but Trey Turner's
he had 2 bad plays
yesterday. That
yesterday.
was the stupidest play I've ever seen.
Yeah,
2 men on base.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even touch second. Can't even complete a throw to home.
It was a horrible throw to home. I don't know what the hell was going on with him.
What's going on?
Now, he at least went 4 for 4 yesterday.
Well, no, he did. It's nice because his bat's been hot since Chicago.
Right.
So let's cross our fingers and say maybe he'll start to earn a third of what the Phillies have committed to him for the next decade.
So notice.
What happened on that? Seriously, a little leaguer knows what to do with the ball.
Notice the Phillies get the win, and yet there's a lot to complain about.
Oh my God, they have a lot to complain about.
So yesterday, listening to our man Connor Thomas.
I heard.
Who's doing afternoons.
He does a good job.
And Connor not being here today, well, he provided us with content.
He did.
But he once again did the whole, we can't
overreact.
Talk about a team in April. We can't make conclusions about a team in April. You're right. We can't make conclusions about a team in April.
But you can talk about how bad they are.
And last night, despite the victory, I'm wearing my Phillies shirt today and my Phillies ball cap. I'm all Phillied up today, Johnny.
I wore a little my maroon today, too.
Go Phils, right?
Yeah.
You can point out issues with a baseball team, and you saw a lot of those issues again come to light yesterday. So I know that today is the last day of April. So it's the last
today's
day.
The day.
Last day for all of you to say it's only April. All right?
We don't have to say it anymore, and Justin Timberlake's right around the corner.
I just want to ask this question. And again, I would love to be able to talk about a baseball team that has World Series expectations, that has not played well, despite it being just April. They've not played well. Let's be adults about this conversation. Johnny, Brendan, Connor, who's probably sound asleep right now, and, of course, all of our texters at 610-632-0975. Do you get the feel that the Phillies are trending toward a championship contender, or as our man Joe G has emailed to me multiple times this season, more of a 2012 type season, where there were still expectations despite Ryan Howard missing the season because of the injury? You had a payroll. You had guys that had been here. You had guys that had been here and won. Obviously, this team didn't win the World Series. That team did, but they've been to a World Series. You have success on this ball club, much like the 2012 ball club. And just one thing after another kept on piling up, and then they end up missing the playoffs. And yesterday, Johnny, when I was listening to the Mike Missanelli show, I'm hearing Mike talking about how, look, you do realize there's a chance they don't make the playoffs.
What?
Because if they don't win the division, and you look at what's going on in the National League West, you got 3 legitimate playoff teams.
Well, now here is where I would tell you that's where that's where, and yesterday I heard some of that with Mike and Bill. That's where I tune out. Not tune out of the show.
Right.
But I tune out of the discussion when someone starts talking about the baseball standings to me 20 games into the year.
I got you.
I'm like, okay, I'm out. I'm out on that discussion. Like, you talk 20, 25 games in, I'm like, I'm out.
I understand,
now,
but you have talked about
another month,
then you'll get there.
I'll look at the standings. But when you talk about the fact of just focus on how bad your baseball team's playing. Let's focus on just how bad Alec Boehm, he's come alive a little bit to get to what, 221?
221, yeah.
I mean, honestly, is JT Realmuto is a black hole. He is and we still have some of the fanboys going, you got to re-sign JT for another couple years.
Who said? I don't. Oh
no, it's well.
See
you see, you have a different algorithm of fan base.
Because I don't see that at all.
JT, you can't get rid of him because of what he does for the pitching staff. What he does for the pitching staff? For God's sakes, it's an arson every night with that bullpen. What's he doing?
Zach Wheeler did say he shook him off one time, and it did lead to the home run. So,
and then Bryce Harper looks disinterested. Bryce Harper, a month in, looks disinterested. I don't know what's going on.
It's an interesting term.
He looks he just looks uninspired. I think Bryce Harper's frustrated by what's going on around him.
Yeah.
But I would say, Bryce, you clean up your own mess.
Yeah,
then.
because he's not playing spectacular
Don't be
baseball.
hitting 231 and being unproductive in multiple chances to knock in runs night after night after night. I can tell it appears there's a lot of frustration on the face of Bryce Harper, and it was talked about on the radio broadcast last night. We were driving home. Yeah, I think Harper's a little frustrated with everything he sees going on. Well, the first thing he sees going on should be the freaking mirror.
Yeah.
Before you start saying, I'm frustrated by what's going on around me, look in the damn mirror and say, okay, have I cleaned up my mess first? Then I'm going to worry about everything else that's going on around me. So I don't want to hear that at all. And it was, Larry Anderson was going off on the broadcast, doing a great job. But he's going off on Rojas on the first misplayed ball. And it was good LA stuff.
Yeah.
LA's he's going to tell you exactly how it is. No sugarcoating. And my wife goes, has he watched Trey Turner? Does Trey Turner get the same vitriol? Because Trey Turner's far worse. Far worse. And what he's been as a Philly. And to me, this is a team that's very messy.
Yeah.
So where Connor's concerned, can you make conclusions? You stated it perfectly. No. Conclusions? Absolutely not. Observations of how bad this team is, and Sleepy Rob, man, he's He's just nodding off.
I don't know what he was going to do yesterday.
Sleepy Rob says, but what's the answer? And you know what? After the game, I had Brendan Gunn pull a piece of audio.
Okay.
It tells you all you need to know from a fan
We'll
base.
hear that next.
Somebody nudged Rob, and he gave a few answers.
Okay. Well, coming up next, you'll hear from Topper following the Phillies win yesterday. Thrilled they won, but it should not.
Are you thrilled they won?
Well, yeah.
Look, I'd rather have them win than lose. But
Exactly.
You're thrilled they won.
Thrilled they won.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not thrilled with how it happened.
I'm disappointed in you this morning.
What? Should I be sad that they won?
No, thrilled? You should not be. Glad they won? Sure. If you want to say I'm glad they won that game,
I'm
sure.
glad they won that game.
That's fine. Thrilled?
We'll react to more of the game
Borderline
from
devastated?
last night that it should never have taken the way that it did. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
And the halo effect with Howie Roseman's draft get in the way of the reality of it, where everybody is...
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. Do you get the feel that the Phillies are trending toward being a championship contender, or trending toward a 2012 type season where there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of carryover, and then they just don't make the playoffs.
Some people are saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Phillies on my Twitter feed. 1, 2,
I don't think
3,
we're there.
4,
I don't
5
think we're there yet.
No, we're not there. They're actually
Phillies are nearly at the win total the Sixers had all season.
Yeah. I don't think we're there.
I
Just
said
yet.
yes. It's the idea. I think it's the idea of what you sort of painted, though. The team that's a lot of hype and just not living up to it.
Right.
This is a team that has a lot of hype that is not living up to it, but it's way early.
It is early, and
it's
that's
way
why
early.
I'm not saying they're
Give me
not making the playoffs.
But look, we're heading into May. By the end of May, look at those standings and see where they are. This better turn.
Yeah.
This better take
Well, and
a
you
turn.
said during the break, and not that we're breaking down the standings, the Braves, who had the horrible start to the season
Remember when
because
the Braves
of all the injuries.
Remember they were 0-7?
They're 14-15. That's 2 games back of the Phils.
They were 0-7, 2-9, and now they're 14-15.
See, I can see a world where they missed the playoffs in a year without expectations, but talking about 2012, that team was at the end of the run. Like, do you think Bryce
Right.
Harper's at the end of the run? Do you think Schwarber's at the end of the run?
I think this core is at the end of the run.
Okay.
And I said that coming out of spring training.
No, you did. You
That-
absolutely said that.
I was in Clearwater with my beautiful wife and my beautiful son. And
You don't have to really couch it like that. We know they're
Yeah.
beautiful people.
They're doing the starting lineup, right? Not Dan Baker. It's Chris Wheeler. Chris Wheeler's announcing the starting lineup at Baycare Ballpark, and I just kind of looked around. And I was like, man, it's the same guys.
Yep. Rolling it back.
And it feels like it's getting real old. And then you start looking at the ages of the players, and they
It is.
are, in terms of Major League Baseball age, they're getting old.
But
And-
why has that happened?
Well, the long
The
contracts.
general manager general manager Bryce Harper, and then his assistant Dave Dombrowski, and some of these horrendous long-term contracts that they signed.
I mean, look, I wouldn't. 5 years for Castellanos was not horrendous. 4 years
No.
for Kyle
Castellanos
Schwarber,
is not on my list. He's not. You haven't heard his name come out of my
but
mouth.
there's really only 2 long contracts, and that's Harper and Trey Turner. And the Harper one, nobody's complaining
And Harper's
about.
trying to renegotiate to get
Well,
more years into his 40s when he's hitting freaking 231.
I haven't heard that story in a little bit
No,
of time.
they literally shut the door on it.
Yeah, as they should have. So the Phillies win yesterday, which is great. But again, 5-3 going into the top of the 9th. Orion Kerkering falls apart. His ERA
Again.
this season is 5.56. He's one of the guys that you were depending on. He's one of the guys that if you're Dave Dombrowski and you're going, all right, I don't know if I can pay both Estevez and Hoffman. Hopefully we can keep one, which they didn't keep either.
They made no effort to keep either.
But who's the guy we can turn to really see take that next step? And that's Orion Kerkering. And yet he's been horrible this year.
The Toronto broadcast, by the way, said that the Phillies made a preliminary offer to Hoffman.
And that was it.
That was around 2/3 of what the Jays gave him.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? For $10 million? For $10 million, you wouldn't want Jeff Hoffman?
Well, I would take him now. I think everybody would. Here was Rob Thompson after yesterday's ball game. I missed this, so it caught your ear.
Well, our own Colin Newby got it.
Oh, all right.
So, it's Rob Thompson, Sleepy Rob, gets asked, tell us about it. There's a problem, right, with Trey Turner's defense, right? There's a problem with Johan Rojas in center in his defense, right? Listen to Sleepy.
You think there's something in Trey's head like that? That was not an easy play, but that's a play major league shortstops make if you throw it with conviction. You know what I mean? It seems like he guided it. You think he's in his own head a little bit?
I don't know. I don't think so. I really don't. But that is a play that normally he's going to make.
Rojas's calling card is elite defense in center field. Are you concerned about what you've seen over the last month with Rojas in center?
No, I'm not concerned. I think he needs to keep it simple, make the plays he's supposed to make. But I'm not concerned. We'll take care of that. He's a great player.
I beg you, Rob. I beg of you to start finding some concern. I beg of you to look at the fact that Trey Turner has been the worst National League shortstop since the beginning of 2024. I beg you to get some concern defensively. I beg you to say, yes, I am concerned that a guy like Johan Rojas is not making the routine plays.
Right, the routine plays.
I'm begging the man to have a pulse, to have some concern. He doesn't. It's just this, oh, no, I have no concern. No concern. I'm begging for a level of concern. I'm not saying you say that they are horrible players.
Right.
Trash them. But I damn well wish he would get some concern. Somebody get the paddles. Get the defibrillator, because he needs it.
All right, coming up next.
For God's sake.
As we continue to talk about the Phillies to start the show, I have another Phillies-related question. And this one's not necessarily about the actual sport. It's about a relationship with a team. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils win in a wild finish. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies escaped last night with the 7-6 win in the first game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Zach Wheeler got the start. He went 6 2/3 innings, striking out 7 in the process, and left the game with a lead. And that lead grew heading into the 9th inning, with the Phillies up 6-3 entering that final inning. And then Orion Kirkering squandered that lead by allowing 4 runs in the top of the 9th. Luckily, the Nationals bullpen struggled as well. The Phillies ended up winning the game after Bryson Stott managed to score on a wild pitch. That series continues tonight against the Nationals at 6:45. Christopher Sanchez is going to be on the mound for the Phils after leaving his last start after 2 innings with tightness in his arm. The NFL draft came and went over the weekend, and the next big date on the football calendar, well, that's tomorrow. May 1st marks the date where the teams have to decide whether or not to pick up the 5th-year option for their 2022 first-round picks. In the Eagles' case, that is Jordan Davis. Jeff McClain of The Inquirer joined the show yesterday and shared his thoughts on which way the Eagles might go with Davis.
If they can't get something done, I'd imagine they're going to pick it up because, Jordan Davis is a freak, right?
We'll keep you updated all day long with on that front if they do pick up that 5th-year option for Jordan Davis. This update was brought to you by Parks Casino, Pennsylvania's #1 casino experience. This is how you win. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation? Business trip? Don't worry.
by the Fanatic on a Wednesday morning, which means Adam Schefter joins us coming up at 7:55 today. Always love our conversations with Schefty. We can get into a little bit deeper of the Eagles draft. Remember, they did try to trade up, according to Ian Rappaport, even higher. I'm also curious, Johnny, about one of my favorite things about post-draft talk is what are the moves that didn't happen? Because I'm sure there were other teams that were trying to trade up to do some big splash. And this draft specifically was kind of uncanny, the build-up, because we were used to seeing trades happen before the draft started. And Schefty was telling us how it was the first time in X amount of years that there were no trades before the draft. So I wonder if there were any potential trades that didn't happen, whether it was for the Eagles or any team.
I did get a follow-up yesterday to what was told to us by Jeff McClain.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else pretty good around the Eagles saying to me they were not going after Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, okay.
So just one, because that was
when
one.
The Browns jumped
that was one that I was pushing. Like I thought, I really did think when he got past the fourth round, I said, at that point, I want him.
Right.
Just to get him.
Yeah.
I want him. Take a shot. And but I was told yesterday that was not in their plans.
You know what? And I'm not surprised it was not in their plans. And this might be why. He would have been the third-string quarterback to start, right?
All right.
It wasn't that long ago you brought in a third-string quarterback that brought all the attention in the world in Tim Tebow.
Do you think he would have, though?
Who?
Like, do you think the Eagles as you know them, would have allowed a third-string quarterback to grab the headlines? I don't believe it. I believe that locker room would never, ever.
Shedeur Sanders may not be doing something himself, but the cameras will follow. I mean, do you remember 2012? It was a zoo.
It was a zoo
at training camp for a third-string quarterback.
But the team was a zoo. The team was coming off of the dream team debacle.
Yeah,
and they were a team without expectations.
This team's coming off of a Super Bowl.
This team is coming off of.
So there's already going to be cameras. Now imagine if you also have the Shedeur Sanders
but
impact.
The cameras are never going to get to him because of all the other stuff that's going on around a championship team. And they're never going to let that happen. That room would literally shut the door and go, kid, put your head down, go to work. That locker room would never allow.
If there's media availability, there's media availability. You know that.
Third-string quarterback doesn't have it. Third-string
quarterback Sanders has it.
No, not if you're an Eagle. He would have been the PR department of the Eagles. They're not letting the third-string quarterback have a bunch of media availability. They're not letting you have access to the first-string quarterback.
Walking up to him at his locker.
They're not letting. Whatever. Well, when he's up to his locker,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But he's going to be a third-string quarterback. What's he going to say? It'll happen once, twice.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything. Yeah,
I just wonder if that was part of it too.
I threw well in practice today. That Tebow team, Tebow mania was.
Oh, it was insane.
Oh my gosh,
it was insane.
What do you got? What are you saying?
What's up, Gunner?
I was just going to say, like, Shedeur Sanders probably would have said something that would have drawn the media to him. Like, that was part of the reason he fell a little bit is because he bombed. I didn't deserve all the extracurricular stuff around it, but he has a big mouth.
I'm going to tell you that I believe if there's any locker room in all of sports that could have handled Shedeur Sanders, put him in his place and said, young man, we wanted you here. We want to make something of you.
You would have thought falling to the fifth round would have put him in his place. He was walking around with a bucket of $1 million cash.
Well, and plus Gilly the kid was there too. Thank God.
By the way, how's the Cleveland locker room gonna?
Well, you see, that's the thing is Gilly. At least Gilly was there to set him straight on how to be,
man.
Gilly.
All right, so I have another question about the Phillies.
Yeah.
Again, what we're starting off with today is: do you get the feel that the Phillies are trending toward a championship contender, or more of a 2012 type season? And I know today is only April 30th, but if you watch this baseball team, you realize that there are flaws. And I say that directly to our man Connor Thomas. Oh, I can't say anything about a baseball team in April. Yes, I can. When the bullpen sucks, and it's not just going to magically get better, and there's issues with the defense, and some guys aren't playing to their potential, which I do think will eventually turn, like a guy like Bryce Harper. But until then, the more and more games you botch, even though they won yesterday, they almost botched it, I can have some determinations about a baseball team in April.
Yeah, I think you can. But can we? I just wish that this city, and it is something that has become new. Fanboy syndrome has really taken over.
Well, so
we talk about all the side stories and try to make them the main story. The main story is we have guys who are being paid tons of money who are literally underachieving terribly.
Yeah.
More than we should be. We're talking about that instead of talking about the important stuff. We're talking about side stories.
Well, speaking of side story,
Yes.
I have a side story topic
Like which
for
one?
this Phillies team. Do you get the sense that people have the same connection that they once felt with this baseball team and its core? If you remember back in 2022, it was pretty nasty before they made the playoffs. Like,
Until September.
people hated this team.
Yes.
Straight up hated the team.
Yes.
I believe it was the year before that when there was still the rule with Canada. And remember JT Realmuto?
JT, yes.
It's just 2 paychecks. And it's like, yo, dude.
That's what
That
more
was
than
the same year.
Was that
was the same
2022?
year,
yes.
Okay. So that year, up until September, the
And it was-
dancing on my own and all that stuff,
Right.
people didn't rock with the team.
Well, that's when JT condescendingly just, hey, I'm skipping the games. Well, in that time, he made more than the average Philly
Right.
fan season ticket holder makes in a year.
Yeah, in those two just those 2 game
Yeah,
paychecks.
exactly.
But then the magical run happens, and everybody loves the team, right? And that's beautiful.
Deservingly so. The run was amazing, and then the next year was an amazing year too.
All from game 1 to the final
They
game where
loved
they're
it.
eliminated by the
Loved it.
Diamondbacks. The fans love the Phillies, and last year there was a lot of love. Now this year, I don't get that same sense that people are as in love with the Phillies. I'm not saying me. I love baseball, and I don't need to love a person to love a team, right? Like I've had this conversation numerous times. Unless you are scum, if you're not that great of a dude, but you're winning baseball games for me, all right.
Yeah,
awesome.
like the fans who Brett Myers was a hero.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not saying
No, but I'm
scum
saying is,
like that.
Well, no, Brett Myers was a hero and
Right.
and cheered and standing ovations and still gets
No,
cheered.
I'm talking about the 93 Phillies.
Right. I got you.
You've told stories
the
that
worst. I've been in this business for a long time. I have been in pro locker rooms for every single professional sport, and the '93 Phillies was the worst cesspool of
and
personalities.
we're not talking domestic violence. You're
No,
just talking
just-
ass faces.
I mean, it was the worst grouping of people I've ever met in a professional locker room.
And yet it was one of your favorite
Yes,
seasons to watch the
fantastic team.
Phillies.
No, it was fantastic.
So I look around this baseball team, and I need you to bite your tongue here, Johnny, because I know how you're going to react. There are people that feel a certain type of way that Garrett Stubbs is not on the team anymore. I see you shaking your head. I'm not saying me. I'm not saying you. I'm not saying Gunner. I saw a tweet the other day. Man, this team looks miserable. The guy they all loved isn't here anymore. People loved Alec Boehm, and obviously he has not been playing so well, and there was the trade talks. The daycare's dead, right? Like Bryce Harper ended the daycare, and that was one of those things that people kind of clung on to as a thing that they loved about this baseball team. People loved Jeff Hoffman and the celebrations he would have after he would get a save. He's not on the team anymore. Really, the only fiery guy is Jose Alvarado. And I'm not just saying in the bullpen. I'm saying on the 26-man roster, who is the fiery personality? Bryce Harper might have a big moment and show emotion, but he's not an eccentric person. He just likes to wear his Fanatic stuff, right? So, Johnny, this baseball team, I'm getting the sense, obviously winning cures everying. But I'm getting the sense that there are people that are kind of falling out of love with some of the guys.
Well, you know what I fall out of love with, and I'm just being honest with you. What I fall out of love with any team that I root for here in Philadelphia, that I've ever rooted for in my entire life, is when I see lackadaisical, disinterest, no emotion. That's this team, and it comes from the top. It comes from the top that Dave Dombrowski this offseason, his lackadaisical approach to, we're rolling it back. We're rolling it back. We got Jesus Luzardo, excuse me. Because we did that. That's fine. It's the lackadaisical. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're going to let our 2 best relievers walk out the door. We're good. We're good.
Steph is another guy with personality, by the way.
And then you then tell me that you got Sleepy Rob at the helm. And he has no worry, no concerns. He has no concerns about Rojas's defense. I'm one of the biggest Rojas defenders in the town because he's way down your list of issues right now. He's 5th on the team, 6th on the team in RBI. Is the idea that Rob has no concerns about the defense. I have concerns, and I'm a big fan of seeing that. Let's see what the guy can do. He has no concerns about Trey Turner's defense. The worst shortstop in the National League. Now we're on a second full season of it. He's not good.
There's one
but he has
thing
no
that can-
concern about it.
One thing that can get the fan base back in, and I'll send us to break with this one, bumping up a little bit.
Don't do it. No.
Nah.
That song's dead. Can I
it's
tell you
dead.
something? All right, I have a story on that song.
Oh, really?
That I'll tell you
Okay.
coming up next. I have something to say. I have a lot to say.
That's supposed to be a girl singing it about a guy? Is that what it is? Is what's your theory with this thing?
Well, check our text
Is there
line
bad
coming
karma?
up next.
I don't know. Bad karma?
Do you get the feeling that this Phillies team is trending toward championship contender or a 2012 down season, missing the playoffs? And also, your relationship with this team, do you have that same connection with it that you had 2 years ago, the later half of 3 years ago? Or are you starting to kind of lose interest or lose the love affair that we had? And that song,
I think it's
a
good word for it.
Let's talk about it coming up next with you at 610-632-0975. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Connor Thomas.
It's crazy. They had so many picks to use, but instead of saying, hey, we're going to take a bunch of guys.
1035, the Fanatic. We'll get to our text messages on our Phillies discussions here momentarily, but Gunner, right before the break, I'm guessing jokingly started potting up Dancing on My Own.
Not serious.
So, Johnny, I had a moment last week.
With Dancing on My Own?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't a good moment.
Okay, good.
So
I haven't had many with it.
My wife and I, as you know, we went out to lunch on Friday. I think it was
Little date
Friday.
lunch. That
Little
was
date
nice.
lunch.
Yeah.
And then we walked around the streets of Collingswood, right? She wanted to go into some of the shops.
She likes her shops.
The little shops.
There's some nice shops.
There's a bookstore she likes and all kinds of stuff, right? And as we're walking by one of the shops or one of the restaurants on Main Street, I hear that song in the playing in the background.
I'm here in the corner watching you kiss her. Oh.
And for the first time in my life, I felt anger toward the song.
Stupid song.
Look, forget the words, forget the song.
It's a girl song.
It's not my type of music, John.
Come on, yes.
But there was something to that song and memories, right? The 2012 or 2022 Phillies.
You stole it from the Red Sox.
Bedlam at the
first
Bank.
off.
I don't care.
Well, I understand.
I'm a Phillies fan. I'm not a Red Sox fan.
I understand, but can we come up with our own stuff?
Okay, sure. There was an attachment to that song. Maybe you were one of 7 people that didn't like it. A lot of people loved it.
They loved it.
And I
Yes.
remember singing it with my wife after the Phillies won the NLCS, Bedlam at the Bank. Being at that game with her was it's a beautiful memory of mine.
Okay, so
and
what
then
screwed up
2023 happens.
Yes.
I will never forgive that team for losing that series to the
Worst
Diamondbacks.
loss of your life as a fan, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Worst
will-
loss as a Phillies fan.
That was there. That was brutal.
I
That
will
was a bunch of
never-
zombies.
I will
That was
never
worse than 2012.
forgive them.
2011.
Yes, I'll never forgive them. They're up, and they lose, and we don't have to go down memory lane. But now that we're in 2025, right? Because
Okay.
2024 they had a good baseball team, and then
All
they
right.
lose in the first round of the playoffs. And now that I'm talking about how this could be the last year of this core, and I've been saying that since I left Clearwater, since spring training, I'm gonna look back with anger.
At the missed opportunity, if it doesn't come
The
to
missed
fruition?
opportunity, yeah. Like I don't kill them for 2022. They ran into a dynasty.
2022, I turned off the TV that night and said, "What a damn fun ride."
Yeah, you were like, that sucks.
Can't
but
wait for 2023. Bravo.
But that taught me a lesson. It's like I can't look at a championship like that ever again. Like I can't say, oh, it was a great run anymore. Like you only get limited amounts of those. Like
I got you.
I left that night feeling that, but I can't do that again.
But 23, I look back.
23 was
I'm going to
miserable.
look back at anger if this team never wins it.
And is that song part of it now?
Yeah, because
Is
when
it branded to it, like, in
remember
your
that
mind? No,
song,
but in your mind. No,
remember
I
they
got you.
came back in
No,
2023 with it.
it did.
Castellanos announced it on this station with me and Ant.
Your mind is branded to that song, though. Now,
Yeah,
it's in there.
And so
How's it
when I
been?
heard it playing Walking in Collingswood, and then Gunner plays it in the last segment,
I'm walking in Collinswood.
I feel anger toward it because it reminds me of the missed opportunity, right? Because 2023, and oh, by the way, like I know the Rangers ended up winning the World Series, but you could have 100% beaten that Rangers team.
The Phillies win the World Series if they win the NLCS. I'm convinced.
And you blow it. Yep. And I like that was your opportunity. It didn't mean that I thought they were done. Like I thought 2024, all right, you're still a good baseball team. 2025, you're still a good baseball team. But if they don't ever end up winning big with this core, the World Series title, that is a year where I will look at with anger for the rest of my life.
I think that's a great analogy. I never liked the song, so it's to me. But you got to change the pronouns up. But it's like it to me is just it's a reflection of that's fluff. I don't care about the fluff. I care about the baseball. I don't care about the fluff.
I know.
I don't care about the vibes.
But fans,
I care about. Well,
a lot of fans care about the
I'm a
fluff.
fan too.
A lot of fans is what
yes,
I'm
and
saying.
a lot of fans can because you know what though, they're less fans of the baseball and more fans of the side stuff.
And
I'm
that's,
not.
And that's why I asked the part 2 question today about whether or not you guys still have that same connection with this team.
No, I don't. And I just this team isn't very connectable right now. Now that doesn't mean that they can't get it back. That doesn't mean that they can't find a little swagger. But when you lose the way that they've lost the last 2 off seasons,
Yeah.
last year getting skunked by the Mets and just rolling over without anything.
Yeah.
Without any kind of fight in you.
Other than Castellanos.
You've got to really, to me, you got to shake something up.
But does the losing go to that as well? Like, there's no more daycare. We don't want the daycare anymore because we got so sick of it, but it's part of the reason the fan base fell in love with this team. Like,
that could be, but they didn't win because of the daycare putting seeds on each other and spraying that water on them.
This season, them not having the fun that they had in past seasons, very reminiscent to me of 2023 Eagles, where the whole mission was, let's get back to the Super Bowl. That's the only thing we're going to celebrate.
And then they didn't have an enjoyable experience.
But remember, that was last year with Schwarber, too. Schwarber said it from spring training last year, that the only thing was winning the division and that nothing else mattered. Winning the division. And I have friends of mine who believe that part of that message led to they came out of the box hot. They were the best team in baseball till end of June. And then it all fell apart. That said, because you just say, got to win the division, it was like mission accomplished.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love.
And they also took their feet off.
I would love to see a team. Yeah, and I think that was the big problem is that you had I think managerial malpractice.
I think it was upstairs too.
Yeah, that they just said, nah, it doesn't matter. No, we'll be okay. We can lose a lot in July and August, and it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, the Real Muto, Real Muto gets his procedure because they go, look, we got such a big lead.
We're going to be able to
out of
flip
the way now.
There is no switch, and that's one thing I've learned in my years in this business. There is no such thing as a switch. There's no such thing as a team playing crappily for months and going, yeah, but we're such a good team. We're just going to go in, flip the switch. It so rarely happens that you see a team win like that. Most of the time what happens is the team that is playing well at the end of the season, the team that has flipped the switch like in August.
Right.
They're the team that carries
was 2022 a curse in that sense? Because they were not playing well going into the postseason. They flipped that switch and took it all the way to Game 6 of the World Series.
It took the Milwaukee Brewers winning 3 of their last 12 or something for them to even make the playoffs.
That helped. All right, what do we got on the text line? I want to at least get one text in here, and then we'll check it out more in the next segment. But what are the people saying so far this morning?
Yeah, we got Jackie checking in. She says, I just feel like this team has no connection right now. They got to do, as Jimmy Rollins said back in the day, you don't want to live in the shadows. They have to go and do something about it. Get your team to connect. I still feel like they have potential, though. Every team is beatable if the Phillies are at their best.
Now, what is that connection, though? Because
what is the connection?
I can't just be like, yeah, bring back Garrett Stubbs.
No, that's not
right. Like, the connection is winning. And right now, they're not winning baseball games. And so once they start winning, if they go on a ridiculous streak, people are going to be happy. But there is just something that seems to be missing with this team and the fans right now because a lot of people, Johnny, you know what? I'll hold this thought and I'll say it on the other side.
Hold it.
All right? 610-632-0975. Sports has changed. And I'll talk more about that coming up next. This is getting deep, John.
It is getting deep.
This conversation is getting deep.
But I will tell you this right now, none of it is making me feel better.
I'm not here to make you feel better today, Johnny.
Yeah, believe me.
This isn't your therapy session.
You're freaking not. I can tell you. But that's good, though.
I have another thought that I want to get into coming up next. We'll check out some text messages as well. It's Kincade and Salciunas. How sports have changed with this team. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A night of blown saves. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies escaped last night with the 7-6 win in the first game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Zach Wheeler got the start for the Phils. He went 6 2/3 innings, struck out 7 in the process, and he left the game with a lead. And that lead grew heading into the 9th inning with the Phillies up 6-3 entering that final inning. And then Orion Kerkering squandered that lead by allowing 4 runs in the top of the 9th. Luckily, the Nationals bullpen struggled as well. The Phillies ended up winning after Bryson Stott managed to score on a wild pitch. The Phils continue that series tonight against the Nationals at 6:45. Christopher Sanchez will be on the mound for the Phils after leaving his last start in the 2nd inning with tightness in his arm. And the NFL draft just came and went over the weekend, and the next big date on the football calendar is tomorrow, as a matter of fact. May 1st marks the date where teams have to decide whether or not to pick up the 5th-year option for their 2022 first-round picks. In the Eagles' case, that is Jordan Davis. Jeff McClain of The Inquirer joined the show yesterday and shared his thoughts on what the Eagles and Davis may do.
If they can't get something done, I'd imagine they're going to pick it up because, Jordan Davis is a freak, right?
We'll keep you updated all day long here right on the Fanatic as far as Jordan Davis, fifth-year option with the Eagles goes. This update was brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
recommendation last night.
Oh, yes.
If you were in the city, we had the best sushi meal we've ever had in the city. Fat salmon.
Yes.
It was a great recommendation My girl said, man, we got to get more recommendation for dining out from Andrew.
Hell yeah, man.
So I think we may need a segment at some point of just you coming up with stuff because
Chef Salciunas.
So we're driving from Temple down to go to Fat Salmon afterwards. And there's Olivia looking at Tom Albert's going, boy, there's yards. I love yards.
Yeah, I love
and
yards.
I'm like, that's
too.
great. I said, you've been 21 for like a couple months. How do you fall in love with this place so much? I have a feeling she visited maybe beforehand. I don't know how.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
You're allowed. I think kids are allowed to go to yards.
Kids, yes.
But yeah, Fat Salmon, great spot.
It was
7th and
awesome.
Walnut.
And by the way, it was fantastic. Loved everything
great
about it.
sushi. And like you actually get full because they're gigantic. All right,
Unreal.
so we've started off the show talking about the Phillies. I was planning on getting some Eagles this segment, but my brain is just continuously moving when it comes to this Phillies discussion.
One of my buddies said you are definitely overstimulated this morning.
Me?
I said there's nothing. No, me.
Well, we're both
There's nothing
overstimulated.
there's nothing in my Temple mug this morning. It's just unsweetened iced tea.
Damn right, man.
But I'm at the point. I'll say what Rob Thompson won't. This is freaking unacceptable.
And
the
so
way this team
yesterday the Phillies win. But again, 5-3 going into the ninth. Zach Wheeler had another good outing, one mistake. And
mistake.
He said it after the game. It was the one time he shook off Real Muto and he gives up a home run. And so Wheeler has a good outing, 6 2/3, 7 Ks, 2 earned runs on 5 hits, only 1 walk. Very typical Zach Wheeler dominant outing.
Great to see it.
But he doesn't get the win because Orion Kirkering does not get help in the ninth, but also he himself falling apart with another big home run allowed.
He's a gas can.
And that's kind of been his entire season.
Here's why, I jumped you earlier on Kirkering, and if I was unfair about that to you on your point of view, I'm sorry.
How dare you?
But I jumped you because of the fact is, look at Jose Alvarado. Last night, it is not a given that you're like, I looked at our own Dylan McTrollan on his thing, and he's like, can't blame that on Kirkering. He had to get 4 outs. Bull crap. Enough of this garbage. What did Jose Alvarado have to do last night? Jose, you know what you have to do in an inning sometimes? Sometimes you have to get 4 outs. Sometimes you have to get 5. Sometimes you have to step up and not get smoked. And more importantly, not leave a ball in the outfield. That ball dropped in front of Live Casino. Seriously, someone was walking out of Live Casino and got hit.
Well,
Orion Kirkering is to blame.
And here's the other thing.
For God's sake.
If Kirkering's got like a sub-2 ERA,
yes, then you can say that.
Then you go, come on, Rojas.
I don't know what, I swear to you, and I love our man Dylan, but I don't know what happens when he leaves here. I don't know if he's sitting in an opium den or if he's in a mental ward or what, because he's like Sunday night. Where are all the NOLA haters tonight? He's 0-5 with a 6.35 ERA. This isn't the time to spike the football because he had a great outing.
He had a great outing.
Let people praise the great outing and just whistle past the graveyard. Stop.
Does this team, as you can hear, this is after a win.
Oh my God! Well, no,
this is after a win.
Like you said earlier, aren't you thrilled they won?
They got a win.
I'm not thrilled they won. No.
Does this team feel like it's trending toward championship contender or 2012, which is kind of the same timeline of what we've noticed with this team, right? World Series, NLCS, divisional round.
They're on the escalator of life, but they're going in the wrong direction.
And we don't want that. Obviously, this team's very good. This team's very talented, but it's missing something, and that's why they're 16-13. I don't
think 16-13, by the way, is any reason for severe alarm.
No, but
it's just how they're playing.
And here's one thing, John. When it comes to baseball, I always say like good teams find ways to win, right? So when you're down 6-5 yesterday, good teams find a way to win. But good teams don't allow bad teams to be in a position to win when you're up 5-3 in the 8th inning going into the 9th. And it's bad baseball. It's bad defense by Rojas, bad defense by Turner, bad pitching by Kirkering. This wasn't like a one person had a blow-up inning. It was numerous people. And so what is this team trending toward? Championship contender or 2012? 610-632-0975.
Is there any answer that you would accept in the middle of that? Because to me, I think both are extreme. Is that right now championship contender?
But that's the expectation.
But no, I understand, but not when you've seen this bullpen. Right now, if anyone's talking about this team winning a championship without adding 2 or 3 arms to this bullpen, There's zero chance.
Well, then
of
that's
that
a problem.
happening.
Well,
That's zero chance.
Well, then that's a problem.
Okay,
Because
so then,
the preseason is
right.
World Series or bust expectations,
It is.
right? And now all of a
Yes.
sudden, through 1 month, we're talking about how it's too extreme to say championship
Yeah,
contender.
because you've seen the bullpen. You've
right.
seen
So then that goes to people like Connor that do the whole it's only April
the
thing.
2012. There's nothing going to happen. This bullpen is not all of a sudden going to become lights
No,
out.
it's not like Ryan
And they're going to wear
Kerkering-
their arms out.
And that's the other thing. Kerkering's pitching every other day because
Yes.
you only have 3 guys you could trust, and one of those 3 guys has been bad this year.
But your general manager, your president, said, "Yeah, we're good. Let Hoffman go. Let Estevez go." And again, I'm not ripping him for letting one of them go.
It's both.
I wanted one of them. By the way, both of them would be the best pitcher in your bullpen right now. Both of them. So pick one. You could have had one of them.
Yeah.
And you went and traded for Estevez. Like, I don't get why you wouldn't
That
have.
was weird. Yeah.
Like, why would you not want him? That's bad. That is a mismanagement.
Now,
And that's bad.
I have another Phillies topic that we've been discussing, and I have another point to it as you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, BZ Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. The first topic was baseball, right? Baseball-oriented.
Baseball.
The second topic is about the Phillies, but from a fan base connection conversation. And I wonder if people still have the same connection with this team that they have over the last couple of years. And Johnny, I had a thought as we were literally talking about this discussion last segment that I wanted to save for this segment.
Okay.
So, fans in sports have changed, and I think changed for the better.
I think a lot about our fan base here has changed in the modern era because I remember how despicable it was to go to a game like in the Vet when I was a young man.
Right.
It was obnoxious, terrible, disgraceful, some of the behavior you saw.
But I'll also go another step further.
And it wasn't uncommon.
Right. I'll go another step further. I think sports has been more inclusive, right?
Explain to me.
Like, I think there's more people that may not have been sports fans 5-10 years ago that are now sports fans.
That is correct. Yes,
And
I think that is true.
I know buddies of mine who were not sports fans that will now text me about something that happened during a game.
What were they fans of?
Just they did other stuff.
Like what? Because I guess what? I guess it's where I grew up, or maybe who I grew up around, or who I hung out with.
Yeah.
I can't think of one person that I'm close to, related to, or otherwise that is a guy that's not a sports fan.
I did other stuff.
You were more cerebral.
Damn right. So
you had a cerebral group of friends. I did not.
If you go to the ballpark,
yes,
it's not just like a fan is not the same as 20 years ago. It's not.
No.
It is more inclusive, right? Like Pride.
People are there
Pride
for the
Night.
event.
Pride Night is a thing, right? In all of sports, and bring your dog to the park day is a thing in sports. Like
stuff that didn't exist.
They're trying to do things where they are trying to get everybody to be a part of sports, and so there are a lot of people that don't watch baseball just for baseball anymore, or basketball just for basketball anymore. Drama has become a big part of sports, right? You put on NFL Live, it's not about the X's and O's, it's about Shedeur Sanders,
And
right?
you also know the players a little bit more with social media, where they're not quote-unquote jocks. You actually get to see some of these guys are nerds, like the nerds that didn't think there was a guy representing them.
Right, exactly. So
okay, it's not that. These are good points.
The way people view sports and the way that there's different people that now view sports, and it's not the same as it was 20, 30 years ago. When it comes to this baseball team, think about how much fandom has changed since 2012. 2011, the last time the Phillies were in the playoffs before this group made it.
So it parallels, honestly, it really parallels the explosion of social media.
Social media, gambling. There are people.
Gambling is huge.
I know people that don't know sports that bet.
Okay, now that is stupid. I mean, look,
they throw $5 down. They go to the game.
I want everybody to pick up their BetPark Sportsbook app, but I want you to bet responsibly.
Yeah,
like I mean, if you don't know sports, like I don't bet on something I don't know. I don't.
Right.
When the random lady from work wins the March Madness pool, she's going to go out and bet on sports now because she knew nothing about that.
There are people that bet when they don't watch the team anywhere near to the capacity that we watch. And so I think about how sports have changed. Think of 2007 to 2011, the last time the Phillies had some great run.
Right.
this day and age, it's changed so much. So right now, there are a lot of people that started watching Phillies for like the first time in their life. And this is kind of the first time they're realizing it's not always fun.
That's a great observation. And that's an observation I never even connected. There are a lot of people who jumped on this bandwagon back in the ride of 2022.
And I was so happy for it. I loved it.
Remember, 2/3 of that season, the place was 2/3 full.
Yeah.
And nobody was in love with the Phillies. And they fell in love with them, and they bought every ticket since and created that mayhem. I get you. I get you on that. And that's a really interesting observation that I had not thought of, is that now they get the reality of,
sometimes it's not always fun.
Yeah,
Think about it. During this run, the Eagles have been to 2 Super Bowls and won one. The Sixers, this is the first year of crap. Crap, right? Like, obviously not getting out of the second round, first round sucks, but this is the first year of crap. The new age fan over the last 4 years that have not been watching as much as we have our entire lives are realizing that sometimes sports sucks.
There was a generation of the hockey bunnies when I worked in the NHL, and they used to say, there are a bunch of members of the fan base, and they are ladies who just like the guys. They're there for the guys. They like the players. They think they're handsome. They think they're rugged. They think they're tough, and they're fans of the guys more than they are of the team.
Yeah,
and there's different reasons that people watch sports at different times,
and it's changed over the years. And I think for the better.
Whatever brings you to the table,
absolutely. I think sports have become more inclusive. That's great, but there are people that are realizing, wow, sometimes it's not fun, and I wonder if that's why the connection with this baseball team doesn't feel the same this year.
Yep. Could be.
Sometimes,
you know what? Every once in a while, Salciunas.
Every once in a while. We'll check our text line on this.
Borderline devastate me.
We'll check our text line on this coming up next at 610-632-0975. We'll also open up some Eagles conversations because...
That's happy. Eagles is good conversation, makes you smile.
Yes. Unless we're preparing you for something. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear from you. So text us at 610-632-0975.
You text every day, so why not text us?
Your opinion matters.
here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Don't forget, coming up at 7:55, our man Adam Schefter will join us as we talk to him every single Wednesday around that time. We're going to open up another discussion point with the Eagles here coming up in a moment, but I do want to talk about the Phillies and get a couple text messages here. The Phillies, are they trending toward championship contender or a 2012 type season? And then, do you still have that same connection with this team that you have had over the last couple of seasons? And I heard that dancing on my own the other day, and I got angry thinking of 2023 because I don't. If they don't win, that was the moment. And even though I have fond memories of 2022 and the fun start in 2024, ultimately, John, it could be for nothing.
Yeah, it would be for nothing. But the 2022, to me, will never be for nothing.
Of course not.
2022 is always going to be. 2022 will always be, to me, the modern era 1993 season, which was absolutely a blast and fun and crazy and what a run, what an October.
Even though they both came out of nowhere in their own right, one was supposed to be there.
And it's correct.
It shouldn't have come out of nowhere.
No,
but
it shouldn't
did.
come out of nowhere.
And then it's gone downhill since.
It has.
What are the people saying on the text line, Gunner?
Yeah, we got Chris and Lancaster checking in saying I was barely even interested before the season started. Rob Zombie Thompson has rubbed off on all these guys.
Zombie.
Pause.
That's
Pause.
perfect.
Rubbed off
no,
on all
he
these
is not.
guys.
Oh, no.
They're disinterested and dead inside.
There is, seriously, and I used the word earlier today, and I'm not saying that he's look, I told you yesterday, if anybody's worried about Bryce Harper, I'm certainly not. He doesn't even show up on my list.
Right.
But Bryce Harper appears disinterested. That's how he looks. There's no fire. There's no energy. There's no, it's like he's not producing.
Yeah.
He's not having the year you expect.
There was a play the other day where Alec Boehm made a bad throw. I forget what game it was.
Did you see look at? Is that the look on his face you're talking about?
Harper just had this look.
Yep.
Like, come on, man. And I'm just like, dude, that
can't do it. Can't have this.
Don't become JoJo with the emotions.
Yeah, I think he's letting the.
All right.
And someone's saying that too, and one of my buddies has been saying this to me. The whole, well, Harper's getting frustrated. Look at this stuff going on around him. I said, if he was doing his job to the best of his ability, I'm all there for Harper being frustrated with it. But when he's playing like garbage, and he's not playing well, then he can't do that. Like he can't be disappointed with Alec Boehm when he's not doing everything he can to help the team win. He's the guy. He's supposed to be the guy.
Yeah.
And I have every belief that he will be when he heats up.
Just it's been
a struggle bus, but can't let emotionally get down.
All right, give us another text message.
Yeah, we got Steve in Central PA checking in saying, I agree with you guys about the Phillies right now. They look bad. However, we should have learned from the Eagles, and things can change going into the bye week. Things seemed really messy for the Birds. Many thought it was, oh no, here we go again. Not saying that's going to happen for the Phils, but it's a little too early to pass judgment so
Where's
far.
the bye week for the Phillies?
And the Phillies,
All-Star break?
And the Phillies did not have a off season where they changed things up.
Yeah, like they didn't add Saquon Barkley.
There's nothing in comparison to the Eagles bye week and how the Phillies are playing right now. None at all. That is totally incongruent because the Eagles.
Now to say this is who they are, it's not. You can't say this is who they are. They could get better.
They can be. The Eagles, a year after playing in the Super Bowl and losing a heartbreaker, literally said, we're tipping the apple cart. We're changing things up. We're making big moves. We're changing personnel. They went and made bold moves trying to do something different. And said, "Hey, look what happened."
Right.
It ended up with a world championship.
Now, speaking of the Eagles, Johnny,
now I can have a smile.
So yesterday we kind of touched on this, and we talked about it with our man Andrew DeCecco and Jeff McClain. The fifth-year option on Jordan Davis has not been picked up yet by the Philadelphia Eagles,
and we're within 24 hours now.
Yeah,
we're within 24. We're within 24 hours of this having to be done.
So we have seen a team that looks completely different all of a sudden.
Yep.
Right? Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. Now, Jordan Davis will still be here, but maybe for just one more year. And if they're not picking up his fifth-year option, what does that tell you about them extending him after the contract's up? There's a lot of turnover with this Eagles team, and I'm not asking whether or not they're going to fall off or not. I just wonder how different might the Eagles look in like the next year or two? It already looks different from their Super Bowl winning team. It looks worlds different from the team that got to the Super Bowl just 3 seasons ago.
Worlds different from that team, yeah.
And as you have been talking about a couple of times now, maybe Saquon's only here for 2 more years.
I think Saquon's here 2 more years. I think A.J. Brown's here 2 more years. Only 2 more years. I don't think he's here any longer. I think this is going to, I think the Eagles are constantly going to be in a churning. And by the way, that's the way the NFL's supposed to be.
Correct.
And I admire the team that does it that way. You have, people talk about window of opportunity, like our friends at Window Nation, 4 and 5 year windows to win Super Bowls. That's not true. I mean, it's just not true in the NFL. You have to.
You can make it happen.
But you have to do it with change.
Correct.
It must be accompanied by change.
So coming up next, I want to open up another conversation about how a team looks. When it comes to the Eagles, let's talk about the players that are here to stay and the players that could be gone very soon. And I'm saying soon, like a year or two, a season or two,
sure.
Right? I'm not talking about
the window not being as wide.
I'm not talking about tomorrow, right? Like Dallas Goedert could be traded tomorrow,
sure,
right? But I'm talking about the next couple of seasons who are actually here to stay. That you can say it's like the jersey conversation. I feel comfortable buying this person's jersey because they're going to be here for the next X couple amount of years. And then who are the guys that could be gone sometime soon? We'll try to go through that coming up next. Obviously, the Phillies are a big part of today's discussion. Continue to send in your text messages at 610-632-0975. Adam Schefter will be joining us at 7:55 today. A fun, busy day today of Kincade and Salciunas following a very fun Phillies win last night, Johnny, here on 97.5
Really
The Fanatic.
Fun, yeah.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A win is a win, I guess. I'm Brandon Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies escaped last night with the 7-6 win in the first game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Zach Wheeler got the start. He went 6 2/3 innings, struck out 7 in the process, and left the game with the lead, and that lead grew heading into the 9th. The Phils were up 6-3 entering the final inning, and then Orion Kirkring squandered that lead in the top of the 9th, allowing 4 runs. Luckily, the Nationals bullpen struggled as well, and the Phillies ended up winning after Bryson Stott managed to score on a wild pitch in the bottom of the 9th. The Phils continue that series tonight against the Nationals at 6:45. Christopher Sanchez is on the mound tonight after leaving his last start after just 2 innings with tightness in his arm. The NFL draft came and went over the weekend, and the next big date on the football calendar, well, that's tomorrow. May 1st marks the date where teams have to decide whether or not to pick up the 5th-year option for their 2022 first-round picks. In the Eagles' case, that is Jordan Davis. Jeff McClain of The Inquirer joined the show yesterday and shared his thoughts on which way the Eagles may go with Davis.
If they can't get something done, I'd imagine they're going to pick it up because, Jordan Davis is a freak, right?
We'll keep you updated all show long, all day long, right here on The Fanatic if the Eagles do decide to pick up that 5th-year option for Jordan Davis. This update was brought to you by the 2025 FIFA World Cup. The 2025 FIFA World Cup Club is coming to Philadelphia. Get ready for a global soccer showdown at Lincoln Financial Field. Don't just watch history. Be there. Get tickets at FIFA.com/tickets. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Adam Schefter joining us coming up at 7:55. By the way, check out the deal of the week. Get a $50 Von C Brewing Company gift card for just $25. Get a taste of Philly brewing history at Von C Brewing Company in Norristown. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals. Talking a lot about the Phillies today. Their win last night, awesome. But it was ugly again. And do you get the sense that this team is trending toward championship contender or trending down toward a team like 2012 where you still had expectations despite maybe problem signs? And there were a lot of problem signs of 2012. And so far, through 29 games, there have been a lot of problem signs with this team. Does that mean this is who they are? No. But could it mean that this is what the bullpen is? Yeah. And when are you going to address that? Not until the trade deadline?
You're just lucky that the Nats bullpen is worse.
Right. I mean, that's seriously.
By 5.09 to 5.10. I mean, it's
that close.
God, it's terrible.
You don't want to be down there.
God, it's terrible.
And then obviously the connection conversation as well, 610-632-0975. We'll get to some text messages here momentarily. But how different, John, could this Eagles team look in like 2 to 3 years? Right?
Well,
so it already looks different.
Okay. And after just to put it in context, if you're going to sustain the window, so I think this team's going to compete for and hopefully bring home maybe another championship in that window. I think you're going to see A.J. Brown move on. I think you're going to see Lane Johnson move on. If you're telling me 2 years, at the end of 2
full seasons, you play 2 full seasons.
Lane Johnson, A.J. Brown, I think will be gone.
I mean, Saquon's
gone. No. 2 more years. 2 more years. Saquon's gone because the contract is written as Saquon's. I think Saquon will be gone. 2 years, 2 more seasons. So you're talking about 3 huge elements of your football team.
Yeah, big time.
That are going to have to be replaced.
Now the other 4 guys on the line will be here. Well, but at least 3.
They all should.
3.
Yeah, they all should.
Because I don't know about Steen. Like we don't know about
Steen
right guard,
it'll be, but I don't consider him one of those cornerstone pieces. Like I believe AJ that we will see Devontae Smith here long term.
Correct.
I believe that we're going to see guys like Mailata and Dickerson and Juergens long term.
Yeah.
And it's not a knock. It's not a knock on Saquon or a knock on AJ. I just believe at that point they're going to say with AJ, it's time to move on. And 2 years from now, the contract situation will be easy to move on from. And I believe that's what will happen.
So
because they're going to have to find money to pay the defensive side. All the money's going to have to shift. The balance sheet as it sits right now for the Eagles, you're literally going to have to take the balance sheet that you're now paying on offense and shift 75% of that over to defense, which means you're going to have to make some tough decisions on the offensive side.
So what makes you lean towards Smitty being here instead of A.J. Brown? A.J. Brown's just going to be too expensive?
I think it'll just be – no, I think at that point it'll be age-wise. Yeah. Age-wise, you get a couple extra years, 2 or 3 extra years.
He's 27 now, 28 now.
A.J.'s 28, and Devontae is
27, turning 28 before the season
He's 28
starts.
Before the season, and Devontae's 25, I believe. So I think that if you're talking about just years of useful life on a wide receiver, I always think wide receiver like 31.
He'll be 27 halfway through the season next year. Yeah,
Devontae will be. So it is close. It's the I think the way they physically play the game, and whether we saw last year. Look, we love what A.J. Brown does. He really wasn't a factor in the postseason.
Right. Not on paper, but they look at him.
He garners attention. Yeah,
he garners attention. Yeah, but guess what? You're not paying guys to garner attention. I mean, you're like he's going to be. I think the wear and tear. If you pulled the Carfax on A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, I think the wear and tear, the way A.J. plays the game.
Yeah, probably.
And we admire it so much.
Absolutely,
it's physical. Lane Johnson. I don't know how the hell Lane Johnson's still put together. I mean, it's bubble gum and
his ankles are.
It's unbelievable. It's so admirable. And again, Saquon Barkley, a couple more years of prime Saquon Barkley, hopefully, which is what hopefully we can get. Yeah, and I think it's just you have to shift the balance sheet. So it's more along the lines of you got to decide who you're going to pay.
Right.
And the older guys, when you get towards 30, and now when Lane gets towards 40,
right,
you're going to have to just make some tough decisions.
So when they let A.J. Brown go, it's going to be a prove-it year for Jalen Hurts is what you're saying out there.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Don't even – it's so strange to me. I don't know.
It's strange.
It's strange to me.
So I'm looking at this.
It's strange to me what people choose to listen to.
I'm looking at this right now. The guys that have since left already, since they won the Super Bowl. These are players that I believe made an impact. All right? I'm not saying fan favorite because the first guy I wrote down was Darius Slay, and I know that people don't love him. Slay, Sweat, Williams.
We love Darius.
Yep.
You and I.
Sweat,
We're Slay fans.
Slay, Sweat, Williams, Rodgers, Becton, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and I threw in Oren Burks because, look, he played throughout the playoffs.
Oren Burks was a part of it happening.
Here are players that are currently on the roster that could be gone within the next 2 seasons. All right?
All right.
Like I have Dallas Goedert. He could be gone within the next few days for all we know.
Right.
Dallas Goedert, Lane Johnson, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Jordan Davis, if they don't pick up his 5th-year option and they let him go to free agency, they let him walk.
Now, Jeff McClain yesterday with us thinking that they will, so they'd have him for 2 more years.
Right.
And then you draft his replacement, and I do believe he's replaceable. You can find a talent
another
in the
big,
draft.
beefy guy that can eat up,
do that.
the offensive lineman on the other side.
And I'm not trying to in any way diss him because I'm a Jordan Davis fan, and I hope it all works out.
Jake Elliott. I don't know how much longer he's with the Eagles,
Yeah.
and I know he did not do what anybody really expected to. But I wrote down Jahan Dotson because he's got 1 year left. So
Dotson's gone.
He's
I think they told you that.
You mentioned him earlier, not on that list, but that's the whole right side of the line. Steen and Johnson could be gone.
Yeah, unless
it could be.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, and this is all within the next 2 years. Like Dallas Goedert could be traded tomorrow.
Dallas Goedert could be gone, and one of those players that we're talking about there could be gone next offseason when they have to sign Jalen Carter. We could have a surprise,
right?
Where A.J. Brown is traded. That would be legitimate conversation of an A.J. Brown being traded because you say, we've got to get cheaper on the offensive side of the ball, and this is what we're going to do.
And these are all integral parts of the team. Now, this is not a conversation of, is the collapse coming soon? Because they're drafting so well. It's just a discussion about how different this team could look. The team that just won the Super Bowl and a lot of guys that were in the Super Bowl 3 seasons ago could all be gone in the next year or two. Enjoy what we have right now.
And that's why I do enjoy it. But also, though, I do enjoy this conversation because I like legitimate sports conversation.
Right.
I don't like making up fake crap and hoping that it goes viral.
All we got to do is look back to 2017, 2018. By the year 2020, the head coach was gone, the quarterback was gone, Alshon Jeffrey was gone.
And they were gone because I believe I am completely convinced, and I know blind faith is something we talk about on this show. I am completely convinced with blind faith that that's not going this time around. It's not going to happen. Howie Roseman is not going to let it happen. He's not going to let this team age out quickly.
Well, which is why Dallas Goedert's on the block.
Correct.
Right? They're not saying, hey, you've been so good, we're going to keep you.
Howie has learned so much on the job and so much from previous mistakes. It's admirable.
By the way, shame on me for forgetting to put down a name on a guy that's not going to be on the team, Brandon Graham.
And
Howie Roseman told him not to play this year.
He did.
So, think about it. To your point about Howie, how he's not going to make the mistakes as last time, he's already saying, no, you're not. Go out on a high note. And it's amazing how this team that's been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 seasons and has won the Super Bowl just a couple months ago might look totally different in that same time period just 2 years in the future. Kind of crazy, man.
That is sort of crazy.
All right, give us a text message, Gunner, on any of our topics so far this morning.
Yeah, got a lot of the Phillies text winding in right now. We got Dave in Mount Laurel checking in, says it's closer to 2012 for the Phillies than a lot of people realize right now. We all knew that rolling ahead into the season for a lot of this lineup was the same, but it's not the recipe for 2025 and success. It's the definition of insanity, as a matter of fact. The front office is highly culpable for this product.
But here's the deal. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Nobody expected them to miss the playoffs. Or nobody, he said this is what we all expected.
No, we didn't.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. The Phillies had one of the best odds to win the World Series.
Yeah.
So stop it.
So nobody's expecting them to miss the playoffs.
That's
this
absurd.
Year. But our question of which way is it trending?
And the trending conversation is legit conversation. I think it's way too early, but the things that they're doing are troubling, and the problems that they've had haven't just raised their ugly head.
Well, and some of them won't just get resolved.
No, they're not going to just.
Like Orion Kerkering is not all of a sudden going to start pitching well tomorrow. Maybe he does. I don't know.
And in Kerkering's defense, too, as you pointed out very fairly, he's had the brakes beaten off him.
Yeah, because they're pitching him every single day.
Correct. So that actually why he might be throwing moonshots.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And then you have nobody to call up apparently, and
yeah, exactly.
Or Kerkering waving off JT on that home run call.
Yeah.
Oh wow, boy.
Look, it's been a rough stretch for the Fightins, man. All right, coming up next, we'll check our text line on our topics. Also, the Eagles discussion as well. How different this team could look in the next year or two, and are you prepared for it? It's Kincade and Salciunas. Adam Schefter joining us at 7:55 here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
And the halo.
Adam Schefter is going to be joining us as he does every single Wednesday. We'll recap the NFL draft with him. The trades that happened, the trades that maybe didn't happen. Philadelphia Eagles obviously looked to move up as high as 22 at one point. Was that for Jahad Campbell, or as other people may be thinking, it could have been for a guy like Malachi Starks? That didn't work out that way for the Birds. Still pulled away a great player in the first round. What has Adam Schefter been hearing about the Eagles draft and, of course, all other storylines around the NFL? We'll talk to Schefty coming up at 7:55. And then, of course, today's headlines with Brendan Gunn will follow that. Speaking of Brendan Gunn, Gunner, I would like to get some more text messages from what the people have been talking about. This Phillies connection conversation intrigues me because I just, sometimes you get a sense, sometimes you get a feel, and it may not be totally accurate. There might be somebody that's listening right now that's saying, what are you talking about? I still love the players on this team, and I love everything about them. It's so much different than what it was when they made the World Series run, when they made the run to the NLCS. If they made the playoffs today, there will still be a raucous crowd at Citizens Bank Park. I'm not saying that people have lost interest in this team. I just wonder that connection, that love affair with the daycare, and people loved Garrett Stubbs, right? Even though he didn't play, they just liked his vibe. And there were things about Brandon Marsh that people loved. Even though his talent may not have been great, people loved his personality. And there are a lot of people, and I've had this conversation with Connor before, that would rather them like the player, even though they might ignore some of their flaws on the field. The fact that they love them adds to their fandom for a player. Whereas me, I just want you to be talented. That's all I totally care about.
It's so weird is that I don't care who like I care about the player as a player.
Is it an added bonus if they're an awesome person and fun and everything?
There are a lot of awesome people. The funny thing is there's so many awesome people. There's so many awesome people in sports, and I always believe that the majority of fans believe that, boy, these athletes, I've heard it like, boy, those NBA players, those NFL players, such jerks. I got to tell you, it's never been my experience.
Right.
I've met so many more really, really good people in professional sports than I've met the jerks. The jerks stand out.
Absolutely.
But I've met so many more really, really good people that just blow you away with how good they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's fine. But I still want the...
You want talent.
Like, to me, I don't care if it's the vibes crap, because the vibes crap is so over. It's so over. Vibes has done nothing for you.
Yeah.
It's done nothing for you.
So what are the people saying on the text line this morning, Gunner?
Yeah, we got somebody checking in. No name on this one. Short, but the point is exact. He says it's just like 2012, this time with less likable players.
This is nothing like 2012. It isn't.
I mean, 2012.
That's too extreme. Like, it's weird is that I feel like these are goalposts.
Right.
And what you're bringing up today and what you brought up with this topic, and it's a great topic.
There's one that's
discuss.
far left, one that's far right.
And to me, it's like the ball is, like, my opinion goes straight through the goalposts. It's straight in the middle. This is nothing like 2012 to me, but it's absolutely not title contender with the worst bullpen in baseball. I'm almost of the belief that you could point in the last 10, 15 years. And Jeff Francoeur will talk about us when he joins us again soon.
Yeah.
Jeff will tell you, if you told him you could have a great bullpen, like a top-of-the-line bullpen, or you could have a top-of-the-line starting rotation, he'd rather have a top-of-the-line bullpen to win a championship.
Now, let me ask you something. You say it's nothing like 2012.
I don't feel that way.
What makes you say that it's nothing like 2012?
Because 2012 had to me, well, first off, I didn't believe in 2012 going in.
Okay.
So I believed in this team going in. And by the way, it's April 30th. It's way too early for me not to believe in what I believed before the season.
The parallels are there, though. Like, you had your best season with that core in 2011. Then you go back, you lose in the NLDS in a heartbreaker.
First round.
Yeah, but the thing is, to me, it's weird is that I don't look at it the same. I really don't.
Now, here's the thing.
Like if you're saying, to me, Utley, Rollins, Howard, were all where It's like the arrow.
Howard didn't exist in that year.
Like I understand,
played
but
71 games, but he wasn't the same
But it's the
player.
arrow pointing down game where you go. You knew going into that, Utley's best years were behind him. Rollins' best years were behind him. There were so many players on that team that if you just did the arrow game in your head, behind them. So the arrows were all
that's where
down.
I came in when he introduced that topic. But then I'm thinking about JT. Now, is he on his way down? Is Trey Turner on his way down?
Look, I've been saying the JT thing is one of those players you talk about.
Yeah.
People do not want to admit what JT Realmuto is. He has been a declining asset offensively since the day he arrived.
Alec Boehm's a flat line.
Alec Boehm is barely a flat line. Bryson Stott, I believe Bryson Stott's best season is ahead of him. I do believe, though, that Alec Boehm could get back to the player, whether it's an all-star, could he get back to being a 275, 280
The question
hitter?
is that good enough, right? From your third baseman,
exactly.
right? You want some
But
pop, and he doesn't provide that.
I'm not down on that. I'm not down on Castellanos. I'm not down on Schwarber.
Right.
I'm not down. And so I look at the pitching staff.
Well, and the pitching staff with that team, Hamels, Lee, Halladay, you still had good arms.
Hamels did not look the same after 2008.
He bounced back in 12. 12, he had a very good season.
12, he did have a good year.
But here's the deal.
But he had already had the declining years.
The bullpen.
Oh, my gosh.
So you had Papelbon, who was great. All-time saves leader, Phillies franchise history. People like to ignore that.
Was 1200 Pence, too, where you went out and got him?
Yes, Pence was in 2012.
No.
Or they acquired
Pence in 2010.
They acquired him, but he was still on the team in 2012.
Yes.
But here's the thing with the bullpen. So, you have Papelbon, you have Alvarado, right? Like the guy that you felt good with. Other than that, man, everybody's ERA was high.
How bad? Read me some of those names.
Antonio Bastardo.
Oh, my God. Well, again.
65 games, 4.33 ERA.
And again, a guy who you had a lot of faith in before, down the tube. Like, heading down.
Michael Schwimmer and Chad Qualls. Both,
I liked him on Friends. didn't dig Ross as much, but
both 35 games that year. Both ERAs well above 4.
Oh my gosh.
Jake Diekman, who never understood how he never became a stud because his stuff was ridiculous.
He did have stuff.
He was good with Texas, I remember. 32 games, 3.95 ERA.
That's not atrocious.
Michael Stutz didn't come through with that repeat year from 2011?
No, he did not come through that year. And that's the thing. You start looking around that bullpen.
Don't make me laugh about it.
You look
it was
around
painful.
this bullpen, you're going, oh, God, it's not all that great.
Look, there was some malpractice by Ruben Amaro Jr. in his construction of his devotion to trying to sustain it too long. And Ruben, to his credit, is a very open-minded guy and a very open book. He even has admitted that, over time, there were mistakes made. There were a lot of mistakes made by Dave Dombrowski this offseason.
Well, so?
And you know what?
Which way are they trending?
And Howie Roseman's not making it. But it's not as bad. It's not as bad.
No, I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs bad.
You can revitalize this core a little bit. You couldn't do that in 2012.
No,
that was it.
No, you needed,
You couldn't shake it up. You had to end
Lazarus.
There's missed opportunities with this team, though. And you just hope that those missed opportunities don't bite them in the rear end to the point where they don't make the playoffs, which I expect them still to.
We do.
All right, coming up next, Adam Schefter on this Wednesday morning. It is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies get a win. It wasn't the prettiest. Tom Brendan gone with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies escaped last night with the 7-6 win in the first game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Zach Wheeler got the start last night. He went 6 2/3 innings, struck out 7, and he left the game with the lead. And that lead grew heading into the 9th inning with the Phillies up 6-3 entering that final inning. Ryan Kirkring unfortunately squandered that lead in the top of the 9th, allowing 4 runs. Luckily, the Nationals bullpen is worse than the Phillies bullpen, and the Phillies ended up winning that game after Bryson Stott managed to score on a wild pitch in the bottom of the 9th. The Phils continue that series tonight against the Nationals at 6:45. Christopher Sanchez is going to be on the mound for the Phils after leaving his last start after just 2 innings with tightness in his arm. Over the weekend, the NFL draft came and went, and the next big thing on the football calendar is tomorrow, as a matter of fact. May 1st marks the day where the teams have to decide whether or not to pick up the 5th-year option for all their 2022 first-round picks. In the Eagles' case, that's Jordan Davis. Jeff McClain of The Inquirer joined the show yesterday and shared his thoughts on which which way the Eagles may go with Davis.
If they can't get something done, I imagine they're going to pick it up because, George Davis is a freak, right?
We'll keep you updated all show long, all day long here on the Fanatic as far as the Eagles and that fifth-year option go. And Adam Schefter joining the show next. We'll see what he has to say about it. And this update was brought to you by Groundworks, your expert for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection today at groundworks.com. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Bill Colarulo.
It's the first time since 2010 that they've taken 5 defensive.
The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, BZ Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. And, of course, at this time every single week, we're joined by our man from ESPN, on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business get you ready for what's next. And he's brought to us by Landis Block. Create your very own jaw-dropping backyard paradise online at landisbc.com. The second highest rated NFL draft was just this past weekend. And, of course, our man Adam Schefter was all over it. Shefty, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew and John in Philadelphia. How are we doing today?
Beautiful day.
We're doing great. We've been reacting to the NFL draft, obviously, all week long. So let's start with the first round. The Philadelphia Eagles move up one spot to get Jihad Campbell, but there have been reports, and we would love to talk to you about it, that they tried moving up even higher in the draft. Do you know if that was for Campbell or if that was for somebody else?
That was for Jihad Campbell. That was the guy they wanted all along. They were in discussions to try to move up even higher. The deals fell through. At one point, they were talking with the Chargers. The deal didn't get processed in time, and the Eagles stayed diligent and kept working to try to get a deal done, and they wound up getting the same player that they were targeting all along at the spot that they did.
And any reason why he fell to 31? A lot of people had Campbell as a top 10 prospect in the NFL draft. Eagles get him at 31. What have been the things that you've heard about the fall in the first round for Jihad Campbell?
Well, he's recovering from surgery on one shoulder. There are teams that believe he's going to need surgery on his other shoulder after the season, and there are teams that believe that he has a knee issue over time, degenerative. Now, again, doesn't mean it is, doesn't mean it will happen. He is a great player. He's a top 10 talent. But when a top 10 talent falls to pick number 31, there are reasons. And if we're going to look for the reasons, it's his left shoulder, it's his right shoulder, and it's the condition of his knee. And we'll see over time how valid those medical concerns are or aren't.
Do you trust one team's medical staff to evaluate more than another's? Because I hear people say it's worth. I hear people say it's worth the risk, Adam. That it's worth the risk, or they can afford the risk. The Eagles can't afford. No team can afford to not have their number one pick come through in any year if you're trying to sustain greatness.
But, John, you got to understand where they're taking him, and you have to understand the risk that's involved. And they would not be taking him at all if they were overly concerned about medicals.
Good.
If the medicals were such a concern, they would never use the pick. Let me say this. The Eagles and other teams are very diligent and judicious in who they leave on their board and who they take off. The Eagles would never take some of these players that other teams have taken. And in this particular case, is the medical, is it a flag? Yes. Is it to the point where it's troubling enough that they took him off their board? No, it's not. So they thought it was a great value. They took him where they did, and we'll see how it goes.
The Eagles did not draft a tight end, something that we all expected to see. With that being the case, is Dallas Goedert going to remain a Philadelphia Eagle? Will they try to work out a contract with him, or do you think that they will still look for other options?
My guess is if you've been looking, you're going to continue to look. It's just that the best period usually to make a deal, if it's going to involve draft pick compensation, is before or during the draft. It didn't happen. There was only one veteran that was traded during the draft. That was quarterback Sam Howell. For all the other talk that there was about all these other players, there weren't very many player trades during the draft. And so now we enter into a period of late April, early May, and there's no real urgency to get anything done. But I think that it just remains an option and will continue to be an option, and they'll be monitoring that to see if anything can materialize.
The way the Eagles roster is set up, it's so amazing how you have all these defensive contracts that are going to come up in the next few years, but Howie's such a master at planning for it. Is that like? Do you think that is a situation that really these teams plan out 2-3 years in advance?
Oh yeah, at least. Oh no, they've and now look, you could plan for 2, 3, 4 years down the line. And all of a sudden, you get players that step in and emerge. You get players that step in and get hurt. You get players that step in from trades. There are all sorts of scenarios that change it. But, yes, it doesn't change your planning for the future and how you're approaching that and how you're proceeding. I mean, that's the idea. Is they could tell you roughly what their cap situation is going to be what they hope their roster looks like 2 years, 3 years from now. And when they make a lot of these decisions, they know that they're going to have to or want to pay Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and many of the great young players that they've selected in recent years. So that when they're more judicious about spending money on free agency, that enters into it. That's part of the decision.
Now, Schefter, there's a reason why when I brought you on, I mentioned how it was the second highest rated draft in terms of television.
I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going with this.
What happened to Shedeur Sanders, who at one point was considered a first-round selection, a top-half first-round selection, and then he doesn't go till round 5? And obviously people continued to watch on day 3 because of the intrigue surrounding Shedeur Sanders. What happened?
Well, I think the networks owe a debt of gratitude to Shedeur Sanders for being on the board, because that is one of the primary reasons, the main reason that the draft was the second highest rated draft behind only the 2020 COVID draft, where everybody's inside and everybody's watching the draft because there's nothing else on. We watched all the shows that we could stream at that point in time. This was, I believe, a confluence of factors all coming together. You know, when I was talking to teams, I didn't find that many teams that really liked him a lot. I heard teams talk about Cam Ward, and there was general love there. I heard teams talk about Shedeur. I didn't hear that. And I know what you're saying, but everybody had him going around. Well, we still thought he was the second-rated quarterback, and we still thought he was going to go high, and we still thought all those things were in play, but they weren't. And it was a case where I think he was not viewed as highly by teams as the public perceived him to be. He did not have a good pre-draft interview process where, I believe from teams I've spoken to that he turned off any number of teams. And so, you've got those factors. You've got one of these things where sometimes the draft goes on and it just feels like people slip into an abyss and you just can't make it back. And it just starts getting away from them. They just start sliding, and it's like everybody just kind of moves on. It was very odd. It also felt personal at certain points. So that's what I'm saying. There weren't that many teams that needed a quarterback. The teams that needed a quarterback drafted a quarterback. It took away any need. It continued to slide. You factor in the draft process. It's a whole slew of factors like that enter in.
I was surprised at some of the storylines that were being trotted out there, though. It's almost as if there were a lot of ex-players and people who cover the league that were trying to make it out to be something that it wasn't. And racially motivated, to me, was the number one. It seems like there was a lot of mistakes made in the process. And what part did Deion Sanders play in that process, if you heard any part of that?
I don't know. I think that teams were aware that Deion looms in the background, but you know what? Deion's played the sport. He gets it. He knows how it works. I don't know. I'm sure that you're saying that, and I've heard it. I heard it on the shows you work on. People trying to spin that and I'm going, what does this have to do with it? I've seen nothing but African-American quarterbacks be picked, African-American players be celebrated at the top of the draft over and over again. I mean, we don't even talk about African-American quarterbacks anymore. That's not an issue. We have one in this town who is one of the greatest and is one of the greatest leaders that an organization has had after being challenged to do so. I just think that there was a lot of deflection about not blaming the player and his father for creating the sideshow that maybe a lot of people didn't want a part of. Well, I think there were people that didn't want to be a part of the sideshow. I think that's probably fair. But, again, that's not the way that I know Deion. I think of him in a different way. I would want to be connected, affiliated, and aligned with him. That's me, okay? But I've worked with him. I know him, admire and respect him. So I view this in a different light, and it's hard for me to see that way. Now, do I think that he made mistakes? Yeah. Do I think that they should have had an agent handling some of the stuff? Yeah. Do I think if they had an agent that Shedor's name and number would not have been sent on the NFL directory to all teams on the Thursday of the draft to reach people? Players and their numbers are not listed on there ordinarily. But when you are self-represented, that happens. And that's how your number winds up in the hands of some idiot in college who's doing ridiculous things. So, I laugh at this. Like, I see some of these players, they don't want to hire an agent. I got it. Your contract's slotted. You're not hiring the agent to negotiate your contract. You're hiring the agent to help you navigate the pre-draft process. And if he charges you 1%, who cares? 1%. Like, people get so bent out of shape over ridiculous things. And agents are not brought in to we all could negotiate their first contract. It's
slotted.
Simple.
It's slotted.
It's slotted. It's color by number. Okay, I got it. But what they do help with is, again, making sure that you don't make any mistakes in the pre-draft process. And agents are insurance against.
Oh, we just lost Adam. Well, his quarter ran out. Adam's on a tight budget right now.
Yeah, we all
a little tight budget from the payphone.
Budget.
That was a dramatic cutoff. I think the agents administration got to him. They got to Adam there.
I'm so bummed out. I had one more question.
Well, no, he's going to call back.
No, I mean we got to go to break. But I'll save this question. All right, is he still?
He's going to call back.
All right, because I have one more question.
Yeah, get one more question.
Because Adam Schefter, we got you.
Yeah.
I'm sending you a roll of dimes.
Yes.
An extra roll of dimes next week.
I guess so. I feel like I'm in the day and age where I got to call sports phone for updates and scores.
It's the smoke. Did you didn't have ESPN the phone. You weren't with ESPN at the time.
Yeah, I remember.
I had one of those. I could have killed. Wow. I could have killed somebody with it. It was unbelievable.
Shefty, I got one last question for you, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, and you may not even have an answer. But last year, after the NFL draft came to an end, you told us right away, look out for the Washington Commanders.
You did.
I'm curious, was there a team and their draft process where you will tell us today, look out for this team? It doesn't have to be NFC East, doesn't have to be NFC. Was there a team this weekend where you said, I like the things that they did, they got good stuff building, they're going to be the team that nobody's really talking about that much that's going to make a nice splash in the 2025 NFL season?
Yeah, I got one.
Oh, what do we got?
The New England Patriots.
Wow. So you're saying like they could make a jump to being back into respectability?
I'm saying that they're going to make a jump back into respectability, and they're going to compete for a playoff spot this year.
There you go.
Wow, all right. Last year it was the Commanders. This year, the New England Patriots.
Adam Schefter, brought to you by Track Phone.
Yeah, Shefty, listen,
Thank
man.
you, Adam.
We appreciate it. Thank you for calling back, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you, buddy.
Yeah, next week,
Tuesday.
Guys,
Tuesday. Yep, Tuesday with Shefty.
It'll be Tuesday with Shefty. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
All right, there he is.
Have a great week.
Adam
Thank you,
Schefter on the Comcast Business Hotline, brought to us by our friends at Atlantis Block. Create your very own jaw-dropping backyard paradise online at AtlantisBC.com.
See?
The Mike Vrabel effect, much like the Dan Quinn effect with the Commanders.
At $8 million a year, you still can have phone issues.
Yeah.
You could still have phone issues.
By the way, if the Patriots have success in year one with Mike Vrabel, I hope the Tennessee Titans ownership group looks themselves in the mirror and calls themselves idiots.
I like Vrabel a lot.
Yeah, me too. I do as well. All right, coming up next, we have today's headlines with Brendan Gunn. But before we even do any of that, let's give out some cash.
The Fanatic signing bonus.
on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We'll
Or
get
Kincade
back.
and Joe Goldberg. Do you know the reference?
Yes, you.
From you?
Yeah.
He's got like blood splatters on the back of his
Don't worry about it.
back of his throwback. Whether it's I don't know if it's blood splatters or whether it's catch it.
Don't worry about it.
But I mean, I'm just like we're going to get that thing fixed.
Don't worry about it. We're driving to work early. All right, don't worry about
We
my
got to get
personal
that
life.
thing fixed.
We'll get back to our conversations about the Phillies and the connection and whether or not you feel like they're trending toward championship contender or 2012. We'll do that in the next segment. But it is time now for today's headlines with the one and only Brendan Gunn.
Today's headlines with the one and only Brendan Gunn.
Yes, the one and only me and the one and only Lundy Law is our sponsor. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. And we're going to be talking about another baseball team, and we're going to take a trip up 95 through the border up to Canada to the top of the fourth inning of Toronto Blue Jays versus the Boston Red Sox. Typically, people are saying, what the hell are we talking about? A top of the fourth inning play in Toronto. But it was one of the craziest catches I've ever seen. It was 7-2 Red Sox at this point. Didn't necessarily save a run. But Dalton Varsho, man, had a crazy catch. I don't know how he did it. That's why these are the best athletes in the world. And here's the call of that crazy catch in the top of the fourth inning.
High fly ball center field. Varsho's back. He falls down. Oh, my goodness. Did he just do that?
Are you kidding me?
He made the catch after falling down behind his back. Wow. A circus catch if you have ever seen one.
Oh, my God.
That was ridiculous.
So hearing it does not do it justice. Did you see it, Johnny? I tweeted it out.
I did.
All right,
and
so
it's honestly one of the most random, like wild things you're ever going to see.
if anyone missed it, Salciunas 975, I tweeted it out. So Varsho is running back, much like Johan Rojas yesterday, and Rojas just missed it. He trips. The warning track monster got him, right? Pulled him down. He then rolls. Like he
rolled.
He stopped, dropped, and rolled, right? Like his eyes, you want to say he took his eyes off the ball? He took his body off the ball. When he gets up on one knee, he's not even standing. I'm trying to paint the picture for somebody that's trying to, understand it through the world of radio. He gets up on one knee. His back is facing home plate. Like you see his jersey number and you see his name. And the ball is to his left. So he then extends his arm, backhand, catch. On a fly ball after falling and rolling.
It's the play of the year. There's your ESPY.
And he gets up.
There's your ESPY.
Like he did nothing.
Yeah.
He got up. He's like, all right. Yeah.
Well, his dad played in Major League Baseball, so.
Speaking of dads, we're talking about dads here last night. Last night, the Indiana Pacers knocked out the Bucks in overtime. And after the game, it looked like Tyrese Halliburton's dad and Giannis were having maybe a nice conversation. Turned out it was not a nice conversation. Tyrese Halliburton's dad gets in Giannis's face, waving the towel, saying, "This is what the F we do. This is what the F we do." Turns out Tyrese Halliburton wasn't the biggest fan of his dad doing that. He spoke about it after the game.
As far as the incident between Giannis and my pops, I had no idea it happened until I got to the back and was showed the video. Me and my pops have talked about that, and I don't agree with what transpired there from him.
John Moran's dad.
Yeah, good.
What is with this?
Good for Tyrese Halliburton, by the way, saying that.
Yes,
because
and that was very, very
I don't
good.
believe John Morant was upset with his father.
No, John Morant seemed like he was like proud of dad.
So
that's a bad look. What is with this?
I don't know, and like. Is there some noted beef between Giannis and Tyrese Halliburton?
And more importantly, this is what we do. This is what we do. You're the freaking Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
You haven't done anything in a generation. Zip it. And Dad, you're not a part of it.
Right, and the Milwaukee Bucks.
You have nothing to do with it. You're embarrassing your kid.
Their second best player missed 2 games because of a blood clot and then tore his ACL or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
This is what we do.
That's disgraceful.
Yeah,
that's disgraceful behavior.
And don't make the moment about yourself.
And by the way,
that's anybody.
And by the way, cursing in his face too.
Yeah.
In Giannis's face. Giannis could have easily taken a swing. And there would have been a new malice in the palace.
Don't make the moment about.
I guarantee you, Tyrese Halliburton's dad, Little League coach,
Yes. He was at the AAU game.
Why does the Little League World Series
He's like
the
Little League coach. I'm going to insert myself into this moment because I can't let it be about my kid.
Come on, man. Why?
It's the truth.
Little League World Series.
He wanted to be mic'd up.
Catching strays.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that can't happen, though. Like, just stay off the court. And he apologized after the game and everything. It's like, just don't do it to begin with. All right, good job, Gunner. All right, coming up next, we'll get back to our Phillies discussions, and we'll check our text line. Also, speaking of the Phillies, great injury news, not so great injury news, and a very weird update that makes me wonder what the hell is going on with the communication process of the Phillies. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils win in a wild way. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phils escaped last night with a 7-6 win in the first game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Zach Wheeler got the start for the Phils. He went 6 2/3 innings. He struck out 7 in the process, and he left that game with a lead. Did not get the win, though. And that lead grew heading into the ninth. The Phillies were up 6-3 entering that final inning, and Orion Kirkering came in the game, squandered that lead, allowed 4 runs in the top of the ninth inning. Luckily, the Nationals' bullpen was worse than the Phillies in last night's game. The Phils ended up winning when Bryson Stott managed to score on a wild pitch in the bottom of the ninth. The Phils continue their series tonight against the Nationals at 6:45. Christopher Sanchez is going to be on the mound for the Phils after leaving his last start last Thursday after just 2 innings with tightness in his arm. The NFL draft came and went around the weekend, and the next big date on the football calendar, well, that's tomorrow. May 1st marks the date where teams have to decide whether or not to pick up the 5th-year option for their 2022 first-round picks. In the Eagles' case, that's Jordan Davis. Jeff McClain of The Inquirer joined the show yesterday and shared his thoughts on which way the Eagles might go with Jordan Davis.
If they can't get something done, I'd imagine they're going to pick it up because, Jordan Davis is a freak, right?
We'll keep you updated all show long, all day long, right here on The Fanatic as far as the Eagles' decision with Jordan Davis and his 5th-year option goes. This update was brought to you by Hand & Stone this Mother's Day. Skip the pretty candles and give her something pretty, amazing. Rest in renewal at Hand & Stone. A soothing massage or refreshing facial. Say no more. Mom gifts. Visit Hand & Stone today. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ricky Batalico.
Howie is just, I don't know why.
97.5 The Fanatic. We'll get back to our text messages here momentarily. Obviously, we had Schefter followed by today's headline, so we've gone away from the text for a little bit. But real quick before we do that, just some quick updates on the Phillies, other than the games itself. Christopher Sanchez will start today for the Phillies. Yesterday, we were still wondering when guys would go. We know you said that Walker's going Thursday, but we didn't know who was going to go today. We now know officially that Christopher Sanchez will be getting the start today, which is great news because he dealt with the arm soreness, which is always scary.
Yes.
But he's good to go. He's back in the rotation today. Taijuan Walker on Thursday. And then Ranger Suarez is expected to rejoin the rotation over the weekend. That according to Matt Gelb. Rejoin the rotation as in somebody moves out of the rotation. That has not been decided yet. Brandon Marsh is seeing a doctor. Philly's expecting to resume rehab this week. If you guys missed it the other day, he's in AAA doing his rehab assignment, and he ended up leaving the game early. I think it was in the fourth inning because of a knee injury. So it had nothing to do with the hamstring that initially sent him down. Knee bothered him. So he comes out of the game. They're expecting him to resume his rehab this week. Now, I hope he's healthy. I hope he's good to go. I'm not rushing him back.
No, there's no reason to rush him back.
Because here's the deal. Rojas has been playing, despite the blunders in the field yesterday, Rojas has been playing well for you.
Yes.
For what you're asking.
For what you need him to do?
Right. He's playing well.
He's not problematic compared to all the other things that are problematic with this team.
Right. And, I'm not
thrilled,
living and dying from Weston Wilson. No. But I don't know if I'm rushing Brandon Marsh back. Take your time.
Why you rush him? Why would you want to rush him back? What has Brandon Marsh done?
Nothing.
Can't hit with a boat paddle.
Nothing. He's done nothing to deserve to be rushed back.
Exactly.
And then lastly, it's just really weird, and this could have just been Rob Thompson misspeaking, but let's not act like this isn't the first time this year where one thing has been said and the opposite has been done, or it didn't play out that way. Remember, the Brandon Marsh is going to take 3 days off. He's back in the lineup the very next day. He ended up playing that night because he came in for defensive replacement purposes.
Okay.
Yesterday, during his pregame media availability, he told the members of the media that Andrew Painter will start with the Iron Pigs on Thursday. And so I'm going, whoa, oh, wow. Okay, so he's making the jump from his rehab assignment with Single A to Lehigh Valley. And I'm thinking, is he going to be back quicker? And then they put out the text to all the reporters.
Maybe
No. He's still with Clearwater.
Correct.
And he's going to pitch 4 innings or 60 pitches, depending on what happens first on Thursday. So maybe Rob Thompson just misspoke.
You just ruined my morning. I thought Andrew Painter was going to AAA.
Are you just finding that out?
I just found that out.
Oh, yeah, no. They sent out a text.
No.
They said, no, he's still in Single A.
What the hell?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So he could have just misspoke.
It's Topper.
But let's face it, this isn't the first time this month, right? We're in April, where the message from the manager has been different than the message from upstairs.
It's Topper. Seriously, someone nudge him. Someone nudge him, really, because I think he misspoke.
He may have just misspoke this time, yes.
I think he misspoke.
But
it's
not the first time literally this month, and it's not the second time literally this month where he has said one thing and then it's been different, and it almost it feels like it's a disconnect between manager and
whatever index
upstairs.
cards they give him beforehand. Hey, Rob, here's what you need to know.
I just broke news to Brendan Gunn.
Oh my God! Well, that's because
my morning is ruined.
That's because it seems like fake news. It's like you can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
There it is, dude.
All right, what do we have on the text line? If people are just tuning in, we'll reset the show later on. But topic number 1, is this team trending toward championship contender or 2012 Phillies? Remember, they did win last night, but it was once again ugly. Once again, the bullpen,
you said
not a good performance.
And Reset 2, you said to me this morning, aren't you thrilled they won last night? No, I'm not.
No, I'm thrilled that they won. It would have been a lot worse if they lost.
No, I know. You said, aren't I thrilled that they won last night? No, I'm not. I'm absolutely not thrilled with what I'm seeing out of the Phillies right now. Nothing thrills me about the Phillies right now.
I'm not saying be thrilled by the product. I'm just being thrilled by the win.
No, I'm not thrilled by it.
And then the connection conversation. How is your connection with this Phillies team? Because I think it's a lot different than it was last year. Definitely different than 2 and 3 seasons ago. What do we got in the text line, Gunner?
Yeah, no name on this one, but they said, I don't think it can't work with the Phillies, but they definitely need to shake up in a fresh perspective. Kind of like a guy needing Blue Chew to freshen some things up. Maybe moving Trey Turner to the outfield can shake that up.
Wait a minute. Who's doing Blue Chew ads? Seriously, they didn't even pay for that ad on this show.
I'm not moving Trey Turner to the outfield.
No, and
I'm moving him to second base if there's a move. Stock goes to shortstop if there's a move. And, you're waiting on Crawford, or you're going to roll with what you got now, or eventually you're making trades. And I saw already there's an article from, I think it was Buster Olney or somebody, one of the ESPN Plus guys, already doing here are what teams are going to target come the trade deadline. The Phillies have bullpen all over them, right, as you can imagine.
Yes.
Changes will come. The problem is it's not going to happen until the end of July. And you have to hope that this team doesn't shoot themselves in the foot too many times that come the end of July, they're looking up in the NL East and also looking up in the wild card. I know you don't want to look at standings yet.
Yeah, a month from now, I'm willing to do it a month from now.
But it's hard not to realize that the NL West has 3 legitimate playoff contenders, maybe 4.
No, it's not. But again, I can't look. It's a month.
I know, but if the Phillies don't win the division, which I still believe is very much in play,
right?
If they don't win the division, it's not. Oh well, they're going to make the wild. This isn't the Vikings last year in the NFL. Oh, if they don't win their division, they're going to. I mean, they're the first wild card team. That's not a lock for the Phillies because of how the National League West is playing out. All right, what else we got on the text line?
Yeah, it's pulled another one up. We got Tom from Albany checking in kind of on that connection and the fans conversation because this guy was a lot of fans' favorites. He says, I know it's in the past, but the Phillies miss Rhys Hoskins. He was the glue guy that kept his team stable and energized. Schwarber and Harper even admitted so. Since his departure, this team has no identity.
I believe that this team has absolutely severely missed Rhys Hoskins because the manager told me so.
Yeah, right away.
On numerous occasions. Where he commented he liked this team better with Rhys Hoskins in the lineup. I like the Phillies lineup better with Rhys Hoskins in it, and I liked it better with Bryce Harper in right field.
By the way, he was on a tear. Yesterday it snapped. He had a 7-game hit streak before yesterday, although he did walk
What's it up to, only like 240, though?
No, he's up 289.
289?
No, because he missed time early in the season.
He was struggling, but he was struggling.
Yeah, and then he got, probably because of whatever he was dealing with, they sat him down for a little bit. And he's since turned things around, in Milwaukee right now. And that's a right-handed power bat that you're missing.
Listen, he's in the final year of his deal, right? Yeah, you had your first baseman saying he's willing to go back to the outfield. They're kind of in third place right now.
Well, he's also the guy
Keep the dream alive.
Yeah, the guy who got ran out of town because of Bryce Harper, though.
Yeah, but he's willing to go back out there, Jim.
I understand, but
he's willing.
But poor Rhys got run out of town because of Bryce.
Now, this connection conversation also goes to your current first baseman. So, Bill Colarulo, before the season started, I still remember hearing him talk about how it's not that he doesn't like Bryce Harper. It's just for the first time, it seemed like he was getting annoyed with Bryce Harper, right? Like the pandering, right? There are a lot of people that didn't care about the pandering because he was playing at a very high clip.
Okay, yeah.
At some point, when you aren't winning, even though he was not a problem in the playoffs last year. Castellanos and Harper were your 2 guys that weren't a problem, even though Harper had a couple of big moment strikeouts. And obviously there was the big moments of the NLCS against the D-backs that he did not come through in the clutch. At what point, if you're not winning, do people start turning on Harper?
Well, Harper should, again, he's so far down. Like, I got my list of issues.
I don't think he should be turned on.
He's not even on it. He's done, by the way, I always look at it this way. If Andrew did something to me that he was a jerk to me.
Well, that's all the time.
The guy's never a jerk. But if he did something where he was a jerk to me, I'd go, okay, how many days have I known Andrew where he never was a jerk? And I'd go, brush it off. Bad day. Bryce Harper, it's that with me as a fan. That's where I'm at with him as a fan.
Yeah, like he'll be fine.
There's enough. First of all, I have every confidence that he'll rebound.
Right.
And second of all, there's enough goodwill in the bank and enough things that in my memory bank that I'll go, yeah, pump the brakes on worrying about Harper.
Exactly.
Like to me, it's not in the mix, but there's enough other stuff that's there. It's like Schwarber to me. Schwarber can't even cross my memory because Schwarber has so much goodwill in the bank. And I think he's far exceeded what I even expected when he came.
Oh my God, yeah. Nobody expected this.
So to me, I don't. Castellanos, he's exceeded what I expected, honestly. So there's certain players that just not even going to register. But
What
others.
about Trey Turner? Coming up next,
And JT, don't say anything bad about JT. He's my mom's favorite player.
our algorithms are different,
He
man.
was my mom's favorite. By the way, he was my mom's favorite player.
I love that.
My mom loved JT.
Coming up next,
Unhealthy alliance from a 90-year-old woman.
as much as people want to say they watch sports just for sports, wrong. Drama and hate always sells. We talked about it with Adam Schefter. We'll talk more about it coming up next, and it will lead to another question that I have for you about the niche nature of sports. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia Union Soccer.
Come up around 9:10, our 5 best minutes of Adam Schefter. And earlier today when we spoke with Schefty, we brought up the ratings of the NFL draft, the second highest in the history of the NFL draft, only behind the COVID draft. And as Schefty said it so eloquently, what else were you doing those 3 days?
You were either watching the stupid Tiger King.
I watched it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was a mess.
I'm borderline disappointed in you.
It was a mess.
Borderline devastated that you watched that.
It was a mess. But yeah, I mean, there was nothing going on. So that's why it was the number 1 most watched draft in the history of the NFL. This one was number 2. And let's face it, the reason why day 3 was watched as high as it was because you were waiting to see how far Shedeur Sanders would fall. Let's not act like you watched day 3 because you were hoping to see him get selected with the first or second pick of the 4th round. You were watching to see just how far this guy could fall.
I was not.
I'm
really
not saying
wasn't.
you specifically.
No, but I mean, but I think there were people there that wanted to see where he went, but not in the net. Like I was rooting for the kid on the 3rd day.
Okay, you were.
Because I think that
took to the 3rd day.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't rooting for it on the 1st day. I honestly think he got what he deserved. I think he got a case of humble pie.
And then you loved what he said.
And then
that video that you saw.
I did. I loved what he said, and the fact is, you blow into meetings with NFL teams, and you're wearing your headsets, and you're wearing your and you're wearing your baggy shorts, and you're coming sloppy. You're coming sloppy. They were talking about Cam Ward wearing the button down to go to his job interview, button down and slacks, and he says, they go, "You don't look comfortable, my man," and he goes, "Oh, I'm comfortable in whatever I wear. I'm comfortable in whatever I wear." He goes, "But I am more comfortable just being in the facility with a pair of pants on." But he dressed
player,
but he goes, "I'm dressed for a job interview."
Right.
There's a difference. You don't wear your headphones.
Yeah. Well,
walking
you know
into
what?
the interview and have earbuds in.
John, just based off our conversation the other day when we were ripping the kid for the prank phone call, there were people that were texting in saying, "I'm glad that it happened. He deserved."
Yeah, the thing is, though, is that I think he got what he deserved as far as getting smacked down. But the thing is, I also believe he could easily have been a second night pick. And by the 3rd day, I'm rooting for him. Right. And honestly, I wanted the Eagles to take him. I wanted the Eagles to
and I'm sure there were a lot of other fans that were wondering, hey, could my team be the one that takes him even though we didn't think we needed him?
Because I believe Shedeur Sanders is better than any other quarterback not named Jalen Hurts on the Eagles roster. So I would have taken a flyer on that. I would have worked with him, and I would have been glad to bring him in.
So I have this question for everybody. Whether you'd like to admit it or not, the reason why the numbers were so high was because of Shedeur Sanders. And people love drama.
They do.
There are people that love to hate watch or hate listen or hate whatever when it comes to certain things.
Sure.
It's like politics, right?
Oh, it absolutely is.
The people that hate certain presidents, yet they still gobble up everything.
Yes.
So that they can continue to hate, right? There are a lot of people
driven. They wake up every day waiting to be outraged and angry.
Right.
They want to be angry.
I have a question for both of you. Are we the niche people that watch sports because we like sports?
No. The people who watch sports love sports. The majority of them. So if you're talking 50.01%.
Okay.
Yes, the majority of people who watch sports hate. But there are many people who watch sports.
But how come?
Like if I watch the Lakers,
yeah,
I'm honest. I watch the Lakers. Now, it's NBA playoff time, which I think, by the way, is the biggest time of year to turn on the NBA. Because the level of competition, it appears like a completely different sport.
And these playoffs, except for the 2-1-8 series, they've been a lot of fun.
And I absolutely would adore nothing less than watching the Lakers go down in flames. So I am hate watching.
So you're hate watching.
Because JJ is going to tell you how smart he is, that smug guy.
You know how I feel about it.
LeBron had to do a jobs program for his son who shouldn't be in the NBA. And then they decide what 50 games they're going to play in the regular season. This is all they care about. I want them to lose so badly. And I'm rooting for other teams. I like Denver. I like Denver. I like how they play the game. I enjoy Denver. I like watching that.
I'm not even going to lie to you. I have no interest in the NBA playoffs at
Really?
all. I mean, I would like to watch my guys, but they play for a New York team, so I literally cannot root for them at all.
Dude, the playoffs have been really
They've
fun,
been all right.
man.
I'm not gonna lie.
They've been more than all right. They've been a lot of fun.
I've had the hockey playoffs on over the
Well, they've
NBA,
been
which
fun-
is
they've been fun
completely
too.
not me, right? Like, I love the NBA, but the Sixers have just got me so disinterested in the NBA as a whole right now. I need like a year break.
I gotcha. So my question, and I would love for people to chime in on this one as well. We got a lot of topics for you to discuss at 610-632-0975. How much is watching sports just about watching sports for people?
It's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that.
Yeah, there's a reason why this draft was the second highest rated draft in the NFL. It's not because the NFL is becoming more and more popular, right? The people, Andrew DeCecco's watching rounds 4 through 7 because he's a nut.
And he knows, Andrew DeCecco knows 90% of the names that are being called.
Right.
We don't.
The common fan is not watching all 3 rounds on Saturday, but they'll watch to see how far or if Shedeur Sanders gets drafted, because that is a storyline. That is a dramatic storyline.
And
for some, it's a hate watch storyline.
And the thing is, though, I can't imagine that someone woke up like Saturday morning and go, "Oh, this is awesome, man. Watch Shedeur Sanders get it shoved
There are
right up
people
his-"
like that,
I
though.
understand there are. And they're nasty people.
Yes.
Like, I wanted the kid to get a dose of humble pie. I really did. Because the arrogance was way too much. But I did not want to see him humiliated. Like, there was nothing about. I don't want to see a young man who made some mistakes. He made a lot of tactical errors. I blame his father, because his father knows the NFL. His father knows the business, and instead his father fed the ego crap and fed the hype machine instead of saying, "Son, you're going to work. You're going to job interviews. Be humble. Don't tell teams you want to. Don't pretend to throw interviews," which is some of the people have suspected he threw some of the interviews because he didn't want teams to be drafting him. He thought he was arrogant enough. I'm going in the first round. And to me, but to root against a young man like that and to act, and I saw it all over social media.
Hell yeah, he did. We
like,
got it on our text messages.
It makes you're a bad. To me, that's a bad person.
We literally had a guy text in, "Oh, I feel bad that Tyler Warren got a prank phone call, but Shedeur Sanders got what he deserved."
No,
no,
it's bad in all
That's
situations.
Horrible.
Like I hope Shedeur Sanders. I hope the kid cleans his act up and literally goes, "I'm going to be a professional. I'm going to be low key. I'm going to go about and do my business, and then I'm going to show everybody what they missed out on."
Yeah, and cleans his act up. His personality. It's not like he's got off the field issues.
No, he's a nice. He's a nice young guy. He's just caught up in all the Instagram hype.
Right.
Caught up on the 240 soundbite, whatever it is.
All right, coming up next, we'll check our text line. We'll reset today's topics. It's been an interesting day today talking about the Philadelphia Phillies. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Blown save, and then another blown save, and then the Phils somehow end up winning. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies escaped last night with a 7-6 win in the first game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Zach Wheeler got the start last night. He went 6 2/3 innings. He struck out 7, and he left the game with the lead, and that lead grew heading into the 9th inning, where the Phillies were up 6-2 entering that final inning. Then Orion Kirkering squandered that lead by allowing 4 runs in the top of the 9th. Luckily, the Nationals bullpen struggled as well, and the Phillies ended up winning after Bryson Stott managed to score on a wild pitch. The Phils continue their series tonight against the Nationals at 6:45. Christopher Sanchez is on the mound for the Phils after leaving his last start after 2 innings with tightness in his arm. The NFL draft came and went over the weekend, and the next big date on the football calendar, well, that's tomorrow. May 1st marks the date where teams have to decide whether or not to pick up the 5th-year option on their 2022 first-round picks. In the Eagles' case, that's Jordan Davis. Jeff McClain of The Inquirer joined the show yesterday and shared his thoughts on whether or not the Eagles will do that with Davis.
If they can't get something done, I'd imagine they're going to pick it up because, Jordan Davis is a freak, right?
We'll keep you updated all show long, all day long, right here on The Fanatic if the Eagles do pick up that fifth-year option for Jordan Davis. This update was brought to you by Erie Insurance, celebrating 100 years of protecting your family's most priceless moments. Then, now, always Erie Insurance. ErieInsurance.com. That's ErieInsurance.com. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation? Business trip? Don't worry. You can still hear...
Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. We'll get back to our text messages here in a moment about our Phillies and Eagles discussions, but we haven't talked about something yet.
What's that?
Your boy's got a new venture. Shaq.
What's the new venture? I don't even know this.
Oh, you didn't know this? GM Shaq.
Yeah, well, GM Shaq has been in the mix.
Shaquille O'Neal. I'm surprised you didn't hear this. He's the general manager of Sacramento State's basketball team. Mike Bibby is the head coach of that team.
He's there to develop NIL money.
Yes.
Get them some NIL.
That's why Mike Bibby's there, too.
He
just happens to coach basketball on the side.
He's doing a favor.
Right.
Yeah, he's doing a favor.
No, I know.
I did know of that. I did not realize that it was just like breaking news or anything.
Well,
these guys.
They just got a big transfer, which is part of what's making the news. They got kid Mikey Williams from UCF.
Mikey Williams, do you remember him?
Yeah, he went over to Sacramento State, and so obviously there's probably some money involved, as you know, you're mentioning that he's there to help.
Well, Shaq also involved with the Kings, so.
Okay.
The Sacramento Kings. But, yeah, it's look, I love seeing the kids get paid. I love the fact that collegiate athletes can now do what coaches have done forever, be whores for money, where college coaches will be like, yeah, I signed a 7-year contract with this school. Oh, no, but I got my dream job. I get to jump schools the next year with no repercussions.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, the NBA draft has the fewest entries since 2015, and it's because kids can get paid now. And
I love it.
Why leave?
I love it.
Yeah. And you were talking about who was Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers, Pat, this is a terrible story, though. Quinn Ewers made, again, where Adam talks about talking to an agent.
Yeah.
Talk to an agent. Talk. Don't sign with one. Talk with one. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, he left college. He left $8.15 million in NIL money on the line. He's going to make $800,000 this year. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. He got drafted like at the end of the draft by Miami.
Right. Like it's not like he was if he was a first round pick, that's a different conversation.
He should have gone back to college, put the $8 million in the bank, and oh my gosh, it's so dumb. It was such a dumb decision. Like Adam said today on the call, always have an agent. If you're doing anything in life, pay the money to get an attorney to represent you. Because if you're your own client, you're a fool.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
I mean, there's some quarterbacks that are smart to just
stay put.
Like Carson Beck, right? Like he'll be a late round pick.
People are talking about like Manning coming out next year. The Mannings always have stayed all the years in college. So I have a feeling his two uncles who are Hall of Famers, because even though somehow Eli's going to sneak in, they're going to say, look, here's what we did, and you can follow our advice or not.
At least he's a projected first-round pick,
but
right?
He's also
so was yours going into the season last year.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, he also will be able to make, with the Manning name, he'll be able to make projected $9 to $12 million.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he redshirted his freshman year. Does he graduate, or does he stay all 5 and cash in along the way?
He may graduate. Remember, his father's not in football. His father made a ton of money in the business world. Smart guy. So I think he's going to do great things.
Right. One more thing. Did you see our old friend Kyle Gibson's outing yesterday?
I did not.
Oh, boy. Kyle Gibson made his first start of the 2025 season with the Baltimore Orioles yesterday. And he faced his first 5 batters, 4 home runs.
He gave up 4 home runs in 5 batters?
Yeah, his final line.
How did Dave Dombrowski miss outside it? That's what I want to know.
His final line on the day yesterday, 3 2/3 innings pitched. At that point, you're just eating. You're just like, come on, dude, we need you to give us a couple innings. 3 2/3 innings. 11 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 9 earned runs, 5 of which via the long ball. So he ends up giving up a 5th home run, too, before his day was done. Rough day for
that's a rough day.
That's
a really,
Kyle
really
Gibson.
bad day. Exactly.
You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. What do we have on the text line today about the Phillies and if they're trending toward championship contender or 2012? Your connection with this Phillies team, because it doesn't feel like there's that same love affair that we saw the last couple of seasons. And the Eagles discussion of how different this team could look within the next 2 seasons, considering all the players that have already left post-Super Bowl victory and the fact that the Eagles are trying to stay young. There could be a lot of moving parts. How different could it look in the next 2 seasons? What do we got on the text line there, Gunner?
Yeah, we got Joe the Cynic checking in saying, I'm like the 08 team. They didn't win the World Series, but like the 08 team, they have been trending down since that World Series, and this front office felt comfortable enough to keep the same underperforming postseason lineup to start this season. What do you know?
Yeah, I mean,
and
the
Joe's
running
not
it back
just being the cynic there.
No, I mean,
Joe, like no lies were detected. The Jesus Luzardo, which is something that I know that Ruben on the TV broadcast and everything has been, and even social media has been harping on, is they didn't just roll it back. They got Jesus Luzardo. We are all thrilled they got Jesus Luzardo. Yeah. Very excited for that, Rube. We're very excited. And you were absolutely correct. But they freaking rolled it back. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
This is the same.
They rolled it back.
Is the same
it's
team.
the same team. It's the same DNA. It's the same lifeless approach. It's the same. Well, I have no issue with Trey Turner's defense. No issue with the worst defense, the worst defensive shortstop in the National League for over a year and a half. You have no issue with it. That tells me the manager is asleep. He's sleepy. He's sleepy, Rob.
And other
he's asleep.
than Kepler, the opening
and Kepler's come around a bit,
but
he's.
I hope Connor's still not holding his breath about this power surge. Other than Kepler,
you mean the power surge from like 7 years ago?
The warning track power surge.
Yes.
I almost sent it out last night.
Other than Kepler, the opening day lineup was the same as, and obviously where guys were batting, but the lineup was the exact same as last year.
Yes. It was like, it's just like they said, nothing to, you know what? Rob Thompson sounded like it after the game last night. Nothing to see here. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. No worries. No concerns. Nothing to see here.
Well, I mean, if you were going to work every day and you knew you had good stuff, it was going good for a long time, and now it's like it's hit a stalemate, and then your boss keeps it the same, your boss keeps it the same, and you have to go show up and make the best out of it, but ultimately it's probably not going to be enough. You might be Sleepy John. Like, you might just check out a little bit.
Yeah, well, the thing what is, do you do with this?
Here's the only thing I would say to you, and that's a great point, and it's a valid point. I think it's who the man's been since he's been here. And I also, very much like Kevin Patullo, where I will have to be convinced that this guy who lingered in the shadows forever was just this bright mind waiting to be unearthed.
Right.
With Rob Thompson, he was around baseball forever. Ever. With visible franchises.
Yeah, the Yankees.
And nobody ever said, you know what, we got to poach that guy. We got to poach him. He's the guy you got to poach. To me, that always says, yeah, there's a lot of bright people in sports. Sometimes they miss a guy. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But it's hard to argue he's not a good manager.
He's a good. I think he's good at a lot of things. I think he's good at what the parts of a management job that some coaches, like a Joe Girardi, didn't understand. Don't burn your players out. Don't be overbearing.
Right.
But strategy-wise, I wouldn't pick him in a game of Connect Four.
But it was awesome in 2022 going with the high-leverage situations instead of the typical closer. If this team doesn't crap out 2 years in a row.
Okay, you're saying it was awesome. It was awesome because he went completely unorthodox, and it worked. The amount of times that has ever worked in baseball you could count on one hand. And to me, yes, that's exciting.
Schwarber at leadoff, he kind of set that trend.
Can I get some breaking news, please?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Now, breaking sports news from 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Good news or bad news, and I need to know before you say it?
Good news.
Okay, great.
Jordan Schultz.
All right.
Sources are telling Jordan Schultz that the Eagles are exercising the fifth-year option on Jordan Davis.
I didn't think they would. I'm so glad that they did. And that means Jeff McClain was all over it yesterday.
Locks in a guaranteed $12.9 million for the 2026 season. Davis has started every game over the last 2 years in Philadelphia.
That makes me happy.
So that, according to Jordan Schultz.
Didn't think that was going to happen. There was no hesitation yesterday from Jeff McClain.
And again,
it would
I don't see why they wouldn't have. You have them, right? Unless you wanted to go, again, cheap, right? You move on from him and you're going to save millions of dollars with another draft pick. But
I'm glad that that's happened. But I also am glad that the Eagles didn't just say, we're renewing your contract we're going to extend your contract and everything. They need to see more than what they've seen. But he has been a tremendous run stuffer.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Yeah. And look, he's been a part of 2 Super Bowl teams. One that won, one that didn't, but he's been a part of 2 Super Bowl teams.
All he knows is winning. And what I would tell you is from his national signing day in high school, which I was literally covering and talking about, to his college career to now, Jordan Davis has been about winning and it's been about being a good teammate. So to me, I always like it when guys like that are rewarded.
Yeah.
And see. But he's got to do more.
No, he does.
As a first-round pick, he's got to do more.
But he's here.
That makes me happy. Good news. That's
right.
good news.
Coming up next, we will get to our 5 best minutes of Adam Schefter. If you missed it, he joined us earlier this morning, as he does every single Wednesday. Next week will be Tuesday, however, because of flight arrangements.
Well, we get Amy and we get Schefter on
and
Tuesday.
Jeff McClain.
And Jeff McClain.
Yeah, it's a big Tuesday.
So in other words, Tuesday is just it's
feet up.
It's
there.
NFL day, though.
But coming up next, you'll hear the 5 best minutes of Adam Schefter from our conversation with him earlier today. We got into the NFL draft, everything that happened with the Philadelphia Eagles, and obviously some other big storylines like Shedeur Sanders. He explained why he had to fall off as he did. So you hear the 5 best minutes of Schefter coming up next. And if you want to react to the Jordan Davis 5th-year option, feel free at 610-632-0975. It is Kincade and Salciunas on this Wednesday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear...
goes, "You need details? Go to Bagster.com."
I feel like
that was on me.
No, but it's on me. It's always the Bagster. I'm sorry. I always jump on the Bagster.
You jump on the Bagster, unlike my friend Joe, who never jumped on the Bagster and hasn't cleaned out his garage. I was involved in. I got you involved in a conversation that went right up to the.
Yeah, how dare you?
So that was my fault.
How dare you talk to me off the air?
And
how dare this show not be a show where we hate each other?
And then Bill came in, and we hate.
We hate Bill.
We hate Bill. So it's like
horrible.
Stand that Bill Colarulo.
All right, so
he's got a lot to say though. Coming up today on the Mike Missanelli show.
It looks like the Jordan Davis
I'm so happy for that
report
news.
is being confirmed by a lot of people that the Eagles will be picking up his fifth-year option. Again, I thought it was a no-brainer, unless they were going to go severe cost-cutting, which, hey, that has been a part of this offseason. I don't know why you would have let him go. Like, he's here.
Correct. I'm happy with that. I'm really happy he's there. And when I tell you about Jordan, Jordan's a good person. He's like it's one of those things like the Shedeur Sanders thing. I look, Jordan Davis would have been snatched up by somebody.
Yeah.
He's going to have an NFL career.
And now you have him for two.
I like it.
At least 2 more years.
At least
you
2
have
more
him for
years.
this year. You were going to have him for this year regardless. And now 2026, they're exercising the option. They had to do it by tomorrow, right? You said 24
yes, had to
hours.
be about May 1st.
Yeah, so
it's going to be May.
It's going to be May.
It is.
All right. Earlier today, Adam Schefter joined us, and now here's his 5 best minutes. So let's start with the first round. The Philadelphia Eagles move up 1 spot to get Jihad Campbell, but there have been reports, and we would love to talk to you about it, that they tried moving up even higher in the draft. Do you know if that was for Campbell or if that was for somebody else?
That was for Jihad Campbell. That was the guy they wanted all along. They were in discussions to try to move up even higher. The deals fell through. At one point, they were talking with the Chargers. The deal didn't get processed in time, and the Eagles stayed diligent and kept working to try to get a deal done, and they wound up getting the same player that they were targeting all along at the spot that they did.
And any reason why he fell to 31? A lot of people had Campbell as a top 10 prospect in the NFL draft. Eagles get him at 31. What have been the things that you've heard about the fall in the first round for Jihad Campbell?
Well, he's recovering from surgery on one shoulder. There are teams that believe he's going to need surgery on his other shoulder after the season, and there are teams that believe that he has a knee issue over time, degenerative. Now, again, doesn't mean it is, doesn't mean it will happen. He is a great player. He's a top 10 talent. But when a top 10 talent falls to pick number 31, there are reasons. And if we're going to look for the reasons, it's his left shoulder, it's his right shoulder, and it's the condition of his knee. And we'll see over time how valid those medical concerns are or aren't.
Do you trust one team's medical staff to evaluate more than another's? Because I hear people say it's worth. I hear people say it's worth the risk, Adam. That it's worth the risk, or they can afford the risk. The Eagles can't afford. No team can afford to not have their number 1 pick come through in any year if you're trying to sustain greatness.
But, John, you got to understand where they're taking him, and you have to understand the risk that's involved. And they would not be taking him at all if they were overly concerned about medicals.
Good.
If the medicals were such a concern, they would never use the pick. Let me say this. The Eagles and other teams are very diligent and judicious in who they leave on their board and who they take off. The Eagles would never take some of these players that other teams have taken. And in this particular case, is the medical, is it a flag? Yes. Is it to the point where it's troubling enough that they took him off their board? No, it's not. So they thought it was a great value. They took him where they did, and we'll see how it goes.
The Eagles did not draft a tight end, something that we all expected to see. With that being the case, is Dallas Goedert going to remain a Philadelphia Eagle? Will they try to work out a contract with him, or do you think that they will still look for other options?
My guess is if you've been looking, you're going to continue to look. It's just that the best period usually to make a deal, if it's going to involve draft pick compensation, is before or during the draft. It didn't happen. There was only one veteran that was traded during the draft. That was quarterback Sam Howell. For all the other talk there was about all these other players, there weren't very many player trades during the draft. And so now we enter into a period of late April, early May, and there's no real urgency to get anything done. But I think that it just remains an option and will continue to be an option, and they'll be monitoring that to see if anything can materialize.
The way the Eagles roster is set up, it's so amazing how, you have all these defensive contracts that are going to come up in the next few years, but Howie's such a master at planning for it. Is that do you think that is a situation that really these teams plan out 2-3 years in advance?
Oh yeah, at least. Oh no, they've and now look, you could plan for 2, 3, 4 years down the line. And all of a sudden, you get players that step in and emerge. You get players that step in and get hurt. You get players that step in from trades. There are all sorts of scenarios that change it. But yes, it doesn't change your planning for the future and how you're approaching that and how you're proceeding. I mean, that's the idea. Is they could tell you roughly what their cap situation is going to be, what they hope their roster looks like 2 years, 3 years from now. And when they make a lot of these decisions, they know that they're going to have to or want to pay Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and many of the great young players that they've selected in recent years. So that when they're more judicious about spending money in free agency, that enters into it. That's part of the decision.
What happened to Shedeur Sanders, who at one point was considered a first-round selection, a top half? What happened?
Well, I think the networks owe a debt of gratitude to Shedeur Sanders for being on the board, because that is one of the primary reasons, the main reason that the draft was the second highest-rated draft behind only the 2020 COVID draft, where everybody's inside and everybody's watching the draft because there's nothing else on. We've watched all the shows that we could stream at that point in time. This was, I believe, a confluence of factors all coming together. When I was talking to teams, I didn't find that many teams that really liked him a lot.
All right, there's our 5 best minutes of Adam Schefter. And again, if you're just missing it, Jordan Davis picks up the 5th-year option, or the Eagles, pick up the 5th-year option of Jordan Davis. This, of course, the news broke by Jordan Schultz, who maybe will come on tomorrow with us. We'll keep you posted on that.
Why not?
Yeah, he and I are talking back and forth. I like Jordan. He's a really good dude.
He is a good dude.
All right, coming up next, we'll check our text messages on today's topics. But, Johnny, this next segment is Old Man Yells at Clouds. Whether you're 31 or however old you are.
What is it?
Because
Clouds?
I read an article this morning ripping something that we have already ripped on this show. We will talk about it, and we'll expand on things that we don't like from a viewer standpoint, a fan standpoint, a person that watches sports either at a stadium or on your couch. We'll talk about some of the things we hate next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Big man JD is here to stay. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. Moments ago, Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports reported that the Eagles are exercising the 5th-year option for defensive tackle Jordan Davis. He is now locked into the $12.9 million deal for the 2026 season. The Eagles had until tomorrow to pick up that option, so now we have big man JD locked up for the next 2 seasons at least. Maybe they'll work to get a longer deal done in the process. And the Phillies, they escaped last night with a 7-6 win in the first game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Zach Wheeler got the start last night. He went 6 2/3 innings. He struck out 7, and he left the game with a lead. He did not get that win, though. That lead that Wheeler had grew going into the 9th inning. They were up 6-2 entering that final inning. And then Orion Kirkering squandered that lead. He allowed 4 runs in the top of the 9th. Luckily, the Nationals bullpen struggled as well, and the Phillies ended up winning after Bryson Stott managed to score on a wild pitch. The Phils continue that series against the Nationals tonight at 6:45. Christopher Sanchez is on the mound after leaving his last start on Thursday after 2 innings with tightness in his arm. That first pitch tonight is at 6:45. This update was brought to you by Macy's Backstage. At Macy's Backstage, how about a fun Mother's Day gift this year? Get low prices on unique finds every day before they're gone at Macy's Backstage. Find a location near you at Macy'sBackstage.com. Off price, on trend, arriving daily. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
97.5 The Fanatic and live casino and hotel.
here before we get to our old man yelling at clouds conversation, because I saw something this morning on CBS, and I'm now realizing that there is something that we don't like here in Philadelphia that is expanding to other ballparks across Major League Baseball. What do we got on the text line, Brendan?
Yeah, we got Joe in Schwanksville checking in saying, I think you guys keep using the wrong term, unfortunately. Good teams do let bad teams come back. Great teams make sure they don't. This team has not shown they can be great for any extended period of time.
No, I said good teams find ways to win. Good teams do not allow bad teams to get into ball games like last night. And the Phillies, whatever you want to tell me about, it's only the month of April. Connor Thomas, hope you're listening. I get that it's only the month of April. But the bullpen being bad is the bullpen's bad. Like, the bullpen's not all of a sudden. Joe Ross is not going to become something. Jordan Romano, who knows, man? I'm not going to allow one good outing to all of a sudden make me feel like he's fixed. And so the bullpen being bad is an issue. Center field being something we were worried about before the start of the season, even though Rojas has been hitting the ball relatively well. Yesterday was pretty bad in the field. But that was something that we were worried about going into the season. And everybody could say, well, at least the things we were worried about are the things that are hurting the team right now. That's not a win for me. Like, I'm not celebrating that because it should have been fixed.
Correct.
Like, why should we be happy that it's not something that we haven't expected? It's the things that we did expect. Well, that means those things should have been fixed if the regular Joe Blow like me can point those out.
If you set the fire, again, you set the house on fire, I am not going to celebrate you running to the curb, getting a hose to try to put it out. You're not a hero. You created the fire. Couldn't agree with you more.
All right. Matt Snyder wrote a piece on CBS. I have never heard of Matt Snyder.
No, Holden Snyder.
So with all due respect to Matt.
Lily Snyder.
But Matt Snyder, you and I could have a beer together.
Really?
He wrote a column for CBS Sports called Snyder's Soapbox.
Okay.
And he's ripping Major League ballparks.
For what?
And the scoreboard that doesn't just have batting average on it or what you did the last time you had up to plate. He's ripping the W.O. Bacon, Bob Bipp, you name it, Phipps. He's ripping it. And so I'm glad that somebody outside of Philadelphia is writing about it. And now I'm realizing that this is something that's plaguing ballparks all over Major League Baseball. It's not just a Citizens Bank Park thing.
You know why? Because baseball teams have employed an army of legion of guys who never played baseball, who study spreadsheets, and then try to tell baseball people how to do their job.
Right.
Because this is the stuff that interests them. So as an organization, if you hang out with the folks from the Big Bang Theory, you're going to be ordering takeout every night and getting into stupid conversations about like stuff that doesn't matter. If you hang out with baseball people, you're going to talk baseball. You're not going to talk lip and whatever Raptor.
That's the
whatever.
thing, though. With the analytics, information is good, right?
Yeah.
But any mixed up formula that you just have on your side to back up your argument is a bunch of BS.
Right. And he makes the point, do I need to know Aaron Judge's XWO Bacon this season to know that he's the best hitter in baseball?
No, you don't.
Like, no. I want to see how many home runs he's hit. Like, I want to know what his batting is.
That sounds good.
Like, that's the stuff that the common person that's going to games want to see. So, over the next couple of minutes, what are some things in sports? And this is the old man yells at clouds segment.
Okay.
All right.
And you are, I think we have checked the DNA. You are older than me.
I'm 31 going
You're older
on
than me by
a
like
million.
2 years.
Yeah.
Somehow.
What are some things in your viewing experience that may not have been a thing 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Like, because this wasn't a thing 10 years ago, like these crazy stats on the big screen. What are some things that are starting to bother you? Now, I'll give you one. I love the Philadelphia 76ers, as you know. I don't need it to be a damn concert every time I go to a game.
Oh, my gosh.
I know this sounds like an old man yelling at clouds, but it's not like this. Kind of goes back to our conversation earlier about, is it about sports anymore? Is it about everything else? My head is pounding by the time I leave the Wells Fargo Center.
That's because they're blaring music every single face-off, every single timeout.
Right.
And they're blaring music.
Like, my head hurts. Like, by the end of or Flyers game, to your point. At the end of a Flyers game or Sixers game, my head legitimately hurts. You know, old man yell clouds. I know. That's
and
what this is.
Watching them.
I'll give you a couple, and they reside in that building. It's okay for other people to sing anthems. It's okay for to maybe change things up and not have
mix it up
and maybe not have excellent. Ding 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 ding. Excellent.
No, but that's been going on for 20 plus years.
It's outdated. It's outdadated. Get rid of it.
That's only if you make both free throws. Okay.
It's outdated. Like find another soundbite. Like it's just
that thing's been going on since I was a little kid, man. It's amazing.
And then
well, that's everywhere. That's everywhere.
Because that wasn't the organist in the Spectrum. That wasn't the organist. They changed things up. And when did it become? It used to be "Let's Go Flyers."
Yeah. What is it now?
Now it's "Let's Go Flyers."
Oh, they changed. Oh, you don't like that change?
No, it's stupid. There was no need to change it.
Yeah, but the analytics say you do it with that cadence, you get more "Let's Go Flyers," and you get the team fired up more.
Do you have any?
Now we are two old men.
You have any?
Well, me at heart. What do you got, Gunner?
To me, it's the baseball taking the errors away. Like it's just like they treat you like you're an idiot. Like I didn't just watch Trey Turner botch that, and now now it's a fielder's choice. Now it's a hit. Like I know what an error is, and I know you're taking them away.
Yeah,
you're not tricking
Johan
me.
Rojas yesterday, even though the ball didn't hit his glove, whatever.
That's an error.
2.
But I mean,
triple. Abrams gets a triple.
The first one is an error, but they don't count it.
They don't count it. And then the double yesterday.
Now he should have gone. Now just think, when that ball's tracking, instead of trying to run with it, you outrun it and
you find your spot.
Find your spot and wait for it to
find your spot.
Also, the sweeper takeover a couple of years ago.
Let's
sweeper
invent a new
pitch that's already been a pitch for 100 years.
That doesn't exist. That literally, I love that Larry Anderson mocks it.
Yeah.
I love the pitchers from another day. Oh, all of a sudden we have a new pitch.
We have a new pitch, right.
Sweeper. Connor loves the sweeper stuff.
Now, is there anything in football? Because I can't think of anything. Like, I'll be honest. Like, I didn't like the score bug in the Super Bowl.
I loved it.
You loved it?
Yeah,
I didn't like it. It was too much. Took up too much of the screen for my life.
Like the score bug?
I don't need the special cameras. Like, I don't need the...
You mean the one that, like, tracks from up and...
Like, sometimes it's cool as a novelty.
As a replay, you like it?
Yeah, as a replay, yes. I don't need that on a live kickoff. I don't need that in basketball when they're behind the guy. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah, you'd rather see it as a replay. You don't want it as the actual...
I got one for you. I don't need a concert at halftime of a divisional playoff game or a conference title game.
Okay.
No, that's the reason that the Eagles didn't have to face the Lions.
Or
they got
Thanksgiving game.
They got Lonzo Ball out, or LaMelo. No, what the hell's the other kid's name? LiAngelo.
Yeah, you like the song. You and Connor were
that
singing.
corner. Whoa.
You guys were singing it for weeks.
Stupid. I mean, seriously, like, you don't need that.
Has he released anything else since then, or did his 5 seconds of fame because his basketball
Why do you need that when you have an iconic sign? That's that song's up there with like the 8675309 one-hit wonders of a generation.
Get the hell out of here! That song's gonna be forgotten about in 2 minutes.
I think that was Tommy Two-Tone.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
We're gonna forget LiAngelo's song in 5 minutes.
Yes, I mean, seriously.
But yeah, I mean, thank you for letting us go off for 4 minutes.
That was funny.
Of old man yelling at clouds. But I just love that it's now become a national issue. The stupid baseball statistics that they need to show in neon, like literally in neon at a ballpark. All right, give us one more text message there, Gunner.
All right, we got Phil in Jersey checking in saying we had bullpen issues we did not have bullpen issues last year, and it all fell apart anyway. How do you know the opposite can't happen this year, where they stink all season and then turn it on?
Because the players that they've got, Phil, players that they've got are not the players they have last year. That's all you need to know. The players you have last year, if you're telling me, could they go and trade for people? Yes, they could. But you're going to have to get into some of your goodies to get some goodies.
Yeah. You can't.
That's going to be the problem. Wow.
Bad bullpen arms don't just become good.
Come on.
All right.
Come on now.
Unless you're J.C. Romero.
Or Cesar.
Juiced up.
J.C. Romero with the 5 ERA gets DFA'd by the Red Sox.
I'll take J.C. Romero versus Gorilla. I saw what he did to that Rays fan.
You did?
Telling him he was on steroids.
Damn right, man. All right, coming up now. Yeah, by the way, this 100 men versus one gorilla conversation is just taking over the world by storm.
Yeah, and the gorilla would crush them.
Yes.
The gorilla would crush them because here's what's going to happen. Human nature's going to step in. The first 5 guys get mauled. The other guys are running for their lives.
They're peeing their pants. Yeah, absolutely.
And pooping themselves.
All right, coming up next.
Poop on.
We'll check a couple more text messages. Don't forget, Key 3 comes your way at 9:48. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
And the halo effect with Howie Roseman.
Thursdays are fun.
Oh, yeah, we'll be.
Thursdays are a lot of fun.
Talking to Bill and Mike and Ray.
That's always a fun thing to do.
They were just chit-chatting about the
Bill Belichick's girlfriend?
No, Halliburton's father situation.
And what was
going after Giannis?
What was the?
Well, I believe they'll have some audio from our friends on TNT.
Yes,
Shaq and Chuck. So make sure you listen to that.
Don't be missing.
Later on in the Mike Missanelli show, starting at 10 o'clock.
Do not be missing. But the thing is, if players have strong parents, the parent doesn't act like that, and then they don't let their kid act like that. But I think Halliburton, what his statement?
Oh, it was great.
Perfection.
Yeah, it was great.
Absolute perfection. Yeah, I talked to my father about it. It's not that doesn't need to be happening. These parents, I swear to you, and I will make sure. Brandon, we're going to make sure Andrew does not become that Little League World Series parent.
He can't. He can't.
We cannot let that happen.
I cannot see my guy yelling at the umpire.
You saw it. You saw it, and I saw it as a youth coach.
Yeah.
I saw it as a high school coach, elite club hockey travel coach, and I said when I stopped coaching, my quote was, if an orphanage ever needed a hockey coach, I'm back in. Because the parents were so freaking insufferable at times.
Yeah, I imagine.
And so I know you're not of that nature.
No.
But
I had a
these
coach.
parents are doing this, and these guys are in the pros.
I've talked about this on the air before. I had a coach that has had the cops called on him.
Had the cops called on him?
Yeah.
What did he do?
Oh, he was ejected and wouldn't leave.
Oh, well, that's ridiculous. But I'm talking about you mean, did a parent get kicked out or a coach?
No, the coach. Yeah. But
well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. This is one of those over-aggressive parents.
I prided myself
because his son's going to be in the big leagues, and
that is every Little League coach ever.
Stop it!
I prided myself, Gunner, on in a 6-year coaching career, 5 high school, 5 club over a 6-year period. I took 1 2-minute minor my entire life as a coach. I never made it about me upstaging my kids, me upstaging them. It was I'm going to get into it with the officials. And to me, and I think that man, Bill McHugh, from Moyer Indoor Outdoor, may have been the one who gave me the 2-minute minor.
Deservedly
One of our clients now.
Deservedly so,
I think he may have been. I know he was involved. He was involved in the game, I do believe. So it may have been Bill McHugh who gave it to me, or it was, I don't know.
By the way,
maybe it was him.
Free read here for Moyer Indoor Outdoor. The grass is looking tremendous.
That's fantastic.
The dead spots we have life.
See, that's awesome.
We're almost back.
Well, now we're getting all the sun too, and the sun is just going to bring it out.
Hell yeah.
That's where you're really going to see it take off. Moyer Indoor Outdoor, eMoyer.com, by the way.
So the Phillies back in action today. Christopher Sanchez on the mound, which is great. Great that he did not get hurt, and he's going up against
happy about that.
Going up against Joe Irvin, who's the pitcher today for the Nationals. The Phillies should be winning this ball game today. Irvin's actually had a decent start to the season, but the Phillies are the better team.
You worried about Sanchez at all? Or since he's going, you're completely out of your mind?
Look, if he's going, then they know he's okay. You know what I mean? Like there is no way that they would risk a guy of his caliber this early on in the season against the Nationals. Unless they knew he was good to go.
And
he wanted to throw the next day. Topper talked about it. Like the very next day, he wanted a long toss.
And I love the fact that they. But it tells me though that tells me a little bit about his attitude. You know, I mean,
he wants the ball.
He said Joel Embiid called and told him to take a month off. And he was like, no, Joel.
Bitch.
He said, no, I'm not going to do that.
You know,
Paul George said, why don't you start a podcast and just pitch every other outing?
I was thinking about the Sixers this morning. I was going to find a segment to put them in, but then I just opted not to. They're shocker, breaking news, they're in trouble. There are stars that might be on the move this offseason. Like Giannis, there's a legitimate possibility that he's out in Milwaukee.
Correct. There's a real good chance that he's out.
Kevin Durant, obviously, with Phoenix. The question is it
nobody's taking Joel Embiid.
Right.
Nobody is taking Joel Embiid. So and Paul George isn't getting you Giannis.
No.
If you want to give up Maxey, and you want to give up, you want to maybe go McClain, Maxey,
whatever.
You want to do McCain and Maxey, and you want to go that route, maybe. You're not getting them for Paul George. You're not getting him for that. So before all the fake trades start,
right, exactly,
and all the stupid stuff talks, those guys are on the market. When Giannis is on the market, there are teams that are good now.
Lining up.
And if you get the first pick somehow, some way, it's rigged, whatever, you get that and you trade it away for a star, I think you're an idiot. An aging star, I think, unless it's a Giannis, I'm not trading away the top 3 picks for a KD. Like,
oh, no.
I love that you just said that, though, that we have to say.
Yeah,
but the fact that we have to say that is a crazy thing. I would love. I'm going to look forward to the thing. By the way, we have that. Monday, for those of you who may have missed it yesterday, Monday on the show, we will have our NHL draft lottery segment.
Okay.
We have a fun way to do the draft lottery to see what are the odds that the Flyers end up with a great pick.
Nervous about this.
And then the following Monday, we got to come up with a different game because it's NBA draft lottery the following Monday. So the next 2 Mondays are the biggest Mondays for this organization for these organizations till the drafts themselves. NHL draft lottery is Monday night. NBA draft lottery is the following Monday, the 12th. And we have a great game for Monday. We'll keep it under wraps, but a great game. Andrew's nervous about it.
Nervous.
Gunnar will be like, I'm in. I know Gunnar will be like, I'm in, but it is dangerous, but it's fun. So we're ready for it. Just hope you have a strong stomach.
Oh, God.
That's all I'm going to say.
One more thing.
And I know you have a cast iron stomach.
One more thing before we get to our key threat.
Yes.
I just saw something from 2 days ago.
What's
on
that?
Twitter. So Cody Clemens is in Minnesota now at the Twins.
Oh, are you just seeing the thanks for everything, Cody?
No.
Oh, you didn't see that from the Phillies?
Cody Clemens
You didn't see the big going away?
No, I missed that.
Thanks for everything, Cody.
Cody Clemens hit a double.
Yes.
He pinch hit and hits a double. And a lot of Phillies fans were like, shouldn't have let him go. Because there were a lot of big Cody Clemens fans here in Philadelphia. Because they love their role player.
Obviously, it wasn't here in the organization.
The pitcher was a position player because the Twins were up 9-1. And so Cody Clemens hit like a double off of a 40-mile-an-hour fastball. And then people didn't realize it right away.
Yeah, they didn't realize it was a...
Yeah, the eephus is back out there.
Yeah, come on, guys. Come on. All right.
It's like, yes, look what he did. He just hit one.
I'm now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show.
Now, the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
It's the idea. I think it's the idea of what you sort of painted, though. The team that's a lot of hype and just not living up to it.
Right.
This is a team that has a lot of hype that is not living up to it. But it's way early.
It is early, and that's why I'm not saying they're not making the playoffs.
But look, we're heading into May. By the end of May, look at those standings and see where they are. This better turn. I beg you, Rob. I beg of you to start finding some concern. I beg of you to look at the fact that Trey Turner has been the worst National League shortstop since the beginning of 2024. I beg you to get some concern defensively. I beg you to say, yes, I am concerned that a guy like Johan Rojas is not making the routine plays.
Right, the routine plays.
I'm begging the man to have a pulse, to have some concern. He doesn't. It's just this, oh, no, I have no concern. No concern. I'm begging for a level of concern. If anybody's worried about Bryce Harper, I'm certainly not. He doesn't even show up on my list.
Right.
But Bryce Harper appears disinterested. That's how he looks. There's no fire. There's no energy. There's no. It's like he's not producing.
Yeah.
He's not having the year you expect.
There was a play the other day where Alec Boehm made a bad throw. I forget what game it was.
Did you see look at it? Is that the look on his face you're talking
Harper
about?
just had this look like, come on, man. And I'm just like, dude, that
can't do it. Can't have this.
At this time every single week, we're joined by our man from ESPN on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business get you ready for what's next. And he's brought to us by Landis Block. Create your very own jaw-dropping backyard paradise online at landisbc.com. Of course, our man Adam Schefter was all over it. Shefty, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew and John in Philadelphia. How are we doing today?
And any reason why he fell to 31? A lot of people had Campbell as a top 10 prospect in the NFL draft. Eagles get him at 31. What have been the things that you've heard about the fall in the first round for Jahad Campbell?
Well, he's recovering from surgery on one shoulder. There are teams that believe he's going to need surgery on his other shoulder after the season, and there are teams that believe that he has a knee issue over time, degenerative. Now, again, doesn't mean it is, doesn't mean it will happen. He is a great player. He's a top 10 talent. But when a top 10 talent falls to pick number 31, there are reasons. And if we're going to look for the reasons, it's his left shoulder, it's his right shoulder, and it's the condition of his knee. And we'll see over time how valid those medical concerns are or aren't.
Can I get some breaking news, please?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Now, breaking sports news from 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Good news or bad news, and I need to know before you say it.
Couldn't be.
Okay, great.
Jordan Schultz.
All right.
Sources are telling Jordan Schultz that the Eagles are exercising the fifth-year option on Jordan Davis.
I didn't think they would. I'm so glad that they did. And that means Jeff McClain was all over it yesterday.
Locks in a guaranteed $12.9 million for the 2026 season. Davis has started every game over the last 2 years in Philadelphia.
That makes me happy.
So that, according to Jordan
Schultz. I didn't think they were going to do it.
All right, that was the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. 3 best minutes from today's show. Again, we had Adam Schefter on earlier today. You heard him during the Key 3. If you want to hear the entire interview, you can at 975thefanatic.com as well as our YouTube page. And then after the show is done, Johnny and I will be doing our daily episode of post-show headlines. And today, I'm excited because
I'm excited for post-show every day. I enjoy it.
Brendan Gunn, you actually gave me an idea for one of the questions. I won't explain on the air. You have to listen to post-show headlines to find out. But you said something to us during a commercial break that made me jot down a question.
See that?
See, I am useful.
That's good producing on your part. That's good producing. By the way, Nate doing a really good job filling in your position, as Connor has been doing a great job in the afternoon. So, multi-dimensional talents.
Damn right, man. We got it all here. So, we'll be doing post-show headlines afterward and hanging out. And the Mike Missanelli show, of course, is coming your way next. Mike's already cheersing us, toasting us.
I love. Let's toast right back.
Well,
to
we're toasting because our day's done and Mike's day is just beginning.
Can I toast one thing too? As I have my Temple mug too.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. Dude.
I was blown away yesterday, and talk about a proud pop moment. We went to the awards ceremony. Seniors. Liv graduates next Thursday from Klein College, Temple University.
Man.
And yesterday afternoon, we found out that my daughter will graduate as the top graduating senior with the highest GPA.
That's awesome.
And I can only say I have no idea how that came out of the Kincade gene pool. Maybe the Harrises. Maybe there is somewhere down the line, but couldn't be more proud of my girl. And so excited. And she has her first official day of work in her new job, May 29th.
That's awesome, dude.
So she got that so she can start so her benefits can hit July 1st. So she goes off the payroll totally.
And the last weekend of her non-work career, Memorial Day weekend, a long 3-day weekend.
That'll be it. So we're very proud.
That's a good point
next Thursday's graduation, and we're looking forward to it.
That's awesome, man.
And so, look, join the American Association for Cancer Research. Do something good today. Make a donation. Win donation made it to the AACR, the American Association for Cancer Research. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR because I'm living proof 3 times over that cancer research saves lives.
All right, everybody have a great rest of your day. The Mike Missanelli Show with Bill Colarulo and Ray Dunn comes your way next.
Mike looks like he's getting 9 in this afternoon afterwards.
He's ready to go.
He's getting 18 in.
Afterwards. How about that? He's ready to.
See, I knew it.
Well, they were both dressed for the part yesterday.
I can read
both Bill and Mike.
He's getting 18 in. Are you kidding me? Oh, man, at the cricket club. Now I hate Mike Missanelli.
Well, that's why he's going to try to win $1,000 next.